Oh, yeah, baby.
Action, baby.
What it do?
What's happening?
Oh, the sexy voice of Ross. Is it Russ or Ross?
Ross. Full name Rostislav.
Oh, the.
Hella professional. Russian people are like, what is that? Where did you come from? That's a Slav, but where are you from? Like, Ukraine, dog, I'm basic as hell. Like, I've never heard that. You're not cultured.
Like I told you, you're one of the least Ukrainian-looking Ukrainians.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I get that
Are you like from the far east of Russia? I was like, I know.
Yeah, West, Belarus, Poland, smack-a-doodle-doo. I'm supposed to be blonde and
same.
named Vadim or Igor or Pavel or something. There I am, Rostislav. So, yeah,
that's a dope name, though.
Yeah, I like it. It means to grow in glory or usurper of glory. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rostislav.
Ah, yeah. Okay, now I get it. My name, I looked it up. It's nothing glorious. It's just servant.
Bloody peasant.
Oh, damn, I was like,
hey, that's humbling, though. That's humbling, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine the servant being at the top. Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
I feel like a king.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there was more kings named Sergei than Rostislav.
Yeah, like in old Russian history.
Yeah.
I don't know Russian. Actually, no. Are there?
I think so. There's probably at least one.
There's Vladimir's. There's,
Vladimir means to rule the world. Vladimir.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Makes
dang.
sense, right?
This guy doesn't want to leave Russia.
He wants the whole world. Why would he leave Russia? He's like, I got a knight. I'm going to grab the rook. I'm going to grab that. Why would he give up the knight to go get a...
We're so fortunate we live in a country where if you rule it, you don't have to be scared for your life.
Yeah, and even at the bottom of the food chain, let's put it this way, you're still not terrified for your life most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some areas which are worse than others, like, Section 8 housing where I'm from. Like, our areas were bad, but they weren't, like, the worst,
Yeah,
but there's still, like... It was a step up from where we came from. There was still more stability. Yeah, there was gunfire and all this crap, but we had electricity every day. Like, I still remember electricity going down in Ukraine. Like, they shut it down. Like,
oh yeah,
where we pay 3 times the amount, like, cost. Capitalism, baby.
Yeah,
you still get it. It's more pricey, but they would just shut us down.
I mean, pricey, but then you make more money. It's like, it's actually... people always try to see, like, oh, where's the cheapest place to live in the world? You could actually live the cheapest in America if you don't take into consideration the medical expenses. Because that's a little, out there.
Exponential.
Expensive. Yeah, like you were saying, like, even on the lower rung, you're good.
Yeah, and being here, like, it detaches you, and like at the top it's so good, and in the middle it's so good, and at the bottom it's so good that you're like, yo, this is all so bad. But when you visit another country, like going to Mexico, I haven't been back to Ukraine since I moved, but going to Mexico is just humbling. You come in and you're like, wow, it's bad.
Yeah.
And then there's like next door, it's great, but then it's bad again, and you don't know. Like, you're driving down the highway and you're like, am I going to be okay? Am I not going to be okay?
Yeah, so there's a reason why there's military with assault weapons.
Yeah, just chilling on the highway like, you were in the carpool lane, bro.
Yeah. Hey, jaywalking.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. But they don't care about stuff like that because it's, in their mind, it's not a big deal because they got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, they're just trying to survive, dude. Yeah. Like, we're so spoiled here that we find anything to bitch about. Yeah. Like, that's why I always tell people, go freaking travel the world and then talk to me and tell me what the problems are.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's just like taking a drink for granted, taking everything for granted. Like, it's so good here, we don't even like that. We've now been concerned about it for so long that it doesn't even bother us that this thing is like something you have to go get and provide. We just go to the store. Yeah. But it only costs us money to get some shit, bro.
Like, I heard a saying, and it's so true. Your problems are somebody's dreams. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're wishing that, their refrigerator went out. And they're like, I wish I had a refrigerator.
What broke? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's snowmaker in the middle of the heat.
You wield a magic machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So how many kids do you have in your family?
The total of 4 of us. So my sister's the oldest, and my older brother, so Lily, Yuri, me, and then my younger brother Larry so 3 of us now.
Oh.
As of a month, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard you said that he unfortunately took his own life. It sucks, man.
Yeah.
it just it puts a riff into everything for a while, you know.
Yeah, it's the way the closest thing I get to, like, I was sitting there like for a while because I found him. I sat there for a while. I think it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours, where it was just like me and the cop lady that didn't really talk. She was just kind of doing her cop things.
Oh man.
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm glad. I'm so glad that happened. Like, you think like, oh, you'd want people to be there. I didn't want nobody to be there.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out what happened. Like, I knew what happened. I got the data, but like I couldn't process it. It's like, imagine having a feast where like you got to finish this all by yourself, and it's a freaking hippo, and you're just eating it and eating it and eating it and puking and eating.
Yeah, your brain doesn't have the capability to process it, so you almost like just go numb. That's a really good way to put it. For myself, it was like everything else was muted. Like, I knew nothing else. Like, I saw life as like a microbe, or like nothing else but this moment mattered. I lived the super present in that moment. Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, I probably took like I asked him for if the cop lady wants some water, this, that. But like the first thing that I said out of my mouth, like me saying something, was, Larry's dead and I'm okay. You know, because I just sat there and thought. And like, imagine all your problems just swiped away and you're just doing nothing but thinking. You know, just absolute mind-boggling thinking, judging every moment that this person lived. And he lived, 26 years. So every moment, everything, I analyzed and thought about it. And I looked at everything in a different light, and the first thing that came to mind was like, I gotta forgive him. I'm the only person that knows. And like, if I start out hating this guy and being like, what a freaking asshole, he did this shit. I found him, like, I should be the most pissed at this dude for it, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, if he was to come back, I'd slap the shit out of him for it. Yeah. At the same time, I knew that like I had to forgive him because I'm the first person that knows him. If I start off by like this negative hatred, like, where is he gonna find peace in the afterlife if the person comes in and just starts hating him?
Yeah, and plus, like feeling, kind of harboring bad feelings inside of you, it doesn't do anything but just destroy you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
it doesn't affect him at all. You know.
Exactly.
He did a move that
he's good.
Yeah, he's gone. He did the ultra move. He won the game. You know what I mean? We lived for so long dodging it, trying to. He won the game. I mean, at the end we die, but like how you die, describes so much about you and this and that and that. But honestly, that's all bullcrap, man. People die. That's the end of that.
Yeah, we're all going to be dead one day.
Yeah, for us, those who are alive, it matters. But for the dead person, it doesn't.
Yeah, like when my mom passed away when I was like 16. People were so down, so depressed, and it was all about kind of like them. In the moment. Yeah. And I'm like, you guys, she was slowly dying of cancer. Yeah. And she's wherever she is, she's not suffering. She's in a better place. It just, man, did you see it coming? Was he like,
let's put it this way.
Down?
Like, up until like that earlier day, he was just doing so much better because he was like a working crazy job and just everything about him. He didn't live for himself. He lived for other people and other things and dreams and whatever, Mm-hmm. So like 2 years ago, I started to discover kind of like who I am as a person. I'm like, I carry the name, I carry the body, but who the hell am I? And I think a lot of our life is figuring out who we are and what we're supposed to do. Because everybody wants to know what they're supposed to do, but nobody wants to know who they are because you got to answer a lot of questions you don't want to talk about. Got a lot of
you know what I'm talking about. Dig up stuff, and you have to look at things
and everything, not just things, everything. Your deepest, darkest corners. You have to go in there and shine the light, figure it out. What's making you messed up? Because most of the time it's just a lesson you didn't learn when you were 3. Time management, this, that, all that starts from like years and years of procrastination. Like, I stopped snoozing my alarm. Why? Because I would just torture myself with the sound of an alarm for 45 minutes and not get out of bed and not sleep. It's just every 5 minutes. Do that somebody for 24 hours, they're gonna go crazy. You know what I mean? But here I am doing it to myself every morning, 45 minutes. Like, why just set the alarm for an hour later, or don't set it at all and just do your thing. But why torture yourself? Snooze. It doesn't help. Whatever, it takes me 45 minutes to an hour to fall asleep. I got insomnia, like, but I'm over here like, I'm gonna sneak in a minute. Just
and once you do fall asleep, it's like you don't want to wake up. So like, that's why I'm the same way, dude. I just hit that snooze button, like, just 5 more minutes.
I'll do it where like I'll snooze once, but I'll set it up to like 5:55 and 6 or 6:05.
Yeah,
and then or it's 6:30, 6:35. That's it. There's one snooze of 5 minutes of actually like slowly waking up. If you're not in the rhythm, it takes you a little while to wake up. You're like, oh, no, hands are online, legs are online. Do a little stretch like a cat. But if you wake up in the right time, you just like hop up out of bed, like, let's go eat a burrito or something.
First thing that comes to mind.
No, first thing's always take a piss. Always, guaranteed.
So you're saying, like, you started to look so introspectively that, like, you even started to look, why I do this, why I, know.
I would have to say I began to look more balancedly, because so many times we're looking for the solution to our problems outside of us, and it's a me problem, but I'm over there like because of Jerry or Ben or Ivan or Paul, whatever that, or Linda or Sophia or Mary, who cares, Yeah. But like we always try to put it on somebody else. But when you take responsibility for who you are, and I got 160 pounds on me, you got whatever on you, you're responsible for that.
Yeah.
I can do some things for you, but I cannot make the most important things for you. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that even like chopping off your arms, heads, legs, whatever, won't change because it's inside of you, at least in my perspective. You know what I mean?
No, that's 100%. A lot of people, until they realize that, it's a very, very tough life for them.
Yeah.
Because they're always harboring those grudges.
Yeah. You're carrying so much baggage for no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, the world doesn't give a fuck whether you're happy or you're sad.
And
so
the
might as well
person
be
you're
happy.
mad at doesn't give a shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why waste your energy, your time thinking about those things? It was literally like a year of prepping for this. You know what I mean? So when it happened, like, it happened at the worst possible time because, like, so much. Like, I was going to Hawaii with him, and there's all these other plans. We were going to open a business, all these other things. But it happened at such a good time because I was more ready for it. You know what I mean? Like, the winds were blowing for a while, and this palm tree had roots already. This isn't like, it was hard before this. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, nobody just wakes up
But now
one day.
now looking back at it, it was so easy before this. But then looking at it now, like, realizing how short this all is, and if you just focus on one person and say, he has all the power to my happiness, like, don't get me wrong, like, the week before it happened, I was like, yo, I gotta go see a psychiatrist or something, because my shit just, like, my brain's just falling apart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta do something. I started reading books more. I started just taking supplements, anything and everything, just to, like, get myself, because I don't know what was going on, but I was not in a good spot.
Yeah.
And then the day before, because I, in my personal opinion, I'm no doctor, CIA, sci-fi guy, whatever, but I think he did it 6'9", because I found him on 6'10", and he was gone for a while. I was in shock. I tried to do CPR and this and that, but, like, once I stopped all that and like breathed in and understood the moment, like, there's no bringing him back.
Yeah.
I could try to pull Elijah or whatever his name, lay on top of him and pray and all that, but I'm like, I don't have the faith for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going.
If you don't mind me asking, did he hang himself? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it was the amount of peace he had on his face was just disturbing, if that makes sense. That whole day to me was just so disturbing because, like, I work in construction, but I'm in the office, so I never carry a knife on me, right? That day I have a knife in my pocket. All these other little things that just, like, they're not, when it rains, it pours, but this was like, it all flowed so good, but it was just a beautiful
wrong
disaster.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful disaster. That's the best way to put it. Like, the way he tied the knot and all these other things are, I looked at it for 3 seconds. I still picture it. Probably like 20 loops on this. Like, this homie, like, it takes determination to do something like this. You know what I mean? So when I sat there and I thought about, like, what the hell? This is so messed up. We're hurting so bad. I'm thinking at the same time, like, how bad was he hurting where this was the only option?
Exactly. Yeah.
My pops is still delusional about it. He doesn't think, he did it himself. Somebody else might have done it to him. For me, it's easier to believe that he did it because somebody else tried to pull a sneaky move on him like that. He would bite their face off. I would see blood everywhere, But for my pops, he finds comfort in that, because he has this belief of life.
I think finding comfort in delusions will eventually make you go crazy.
Of course, but who am I to go burst into his delusion and tell him, yell the truth and say, you must repent. They do it to me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I show up home with a fake tattoo. They're on my ass about it. And I'm like, guys, I'm not okay. I look okay. I act okay. I talk okay. But, like, I'm hurting inside just as bad as you.
Yeah.
I don't want to live this shit any more than you do right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, I choose to look past that. I choose to still live on. I went on vacation. I went experience that the best time of my life. Yeah. And then I come back to the hotel room and I'm crying like a little baby because I'm like, my brother's supposed to be out here.
It's true.
And that's what life is putting on the pants and showing up to work with the iron shirt that you ironed yourself. Because
move forward, but realize that there's still going to be those times where you just sit there and like all of a sudden it hits you all at once. You know?
And for myself,
trust me, I've had those moments too.
when it all happened, I was like, I speak 3 languages. In my mind, I'm like, I speak 3 languages: Russian, Ukrainian, maybe a lick of Belarusian if I want to be all technical and crap in English. But there's no words. None of those languages help me to put it into words. Like the closest thing I could describe it was like I'm walking on the ground, but the ground is gone. And I'm just walking because that's not my biggest problem right now. Like the fact that there's no ground underneath my feet, that's all good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I got like a bigger fish to fry, and that's the closest I could get to like putting it into words and describing it. And a lot of it was like so many people came up, so many people talked to me. Some of my friends were just there to like listen to me. And before any of that happened, in that hour that I sat there, I thought, I was like, I don't want to see fucking anybody right now.
Yeah, you need a moment for yourself.
And I thought for the next month, for the next year.
No. As soon as possible, start to socialize. And
that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did, but it was the opposite of what I wanted to do. I wanted to just wallow, just shut up, leave me alone. I want to think about this. I'm going to hurt to the deepest core of me, right?
Yeah.
Then I thought about it. I was like, bro, there's so many other people who are hurt. So many other people who just lost a friend. Like I lost a brother. Closest homie in my life. The homie that knew me the best. I knew him the best. Like 2 butt cheeks. Shit got between us, but we always came together.
Yeah.
But he's a dope ass homie. He didn't have like a whole huge, like I got hundreds of people people will call friends. And I call them acquaintances and, colleagues, whatever you want to call it. But like, there's only 10 friends in your life, 5 to 10 friends in your life, and true friends by the fullest definition. But I have a spectrum. That makes sense, like a 1 to 10 or whatever. Because I hate boxing things up that don't need to be boxed up. So many things people like in relationships, they're like, oh, he's either good or bad because of this or that, right? But they could be good and bad, like for myself, I'm a dull homie, but I got my flaws, this happens and then that happens. It's a package deal, and in that spectrum, like at the same time, I was like, I gotta live on for all these people who lost their friend. I gotta be a strength that they can rely on, and I thank God for everything because like, in a messed up way, he prepared me for it. It wasn't like, oh, it's gonna be hard or this, that. No, he just threw crap at me. That. But how much of it was him throwing it? How much was it me walking on the wrong side of the road, getting smacked by it?
I think you're looking at it from the most positive perspective because that's what I realized for myself. Either you could sit there and be a victim, because of all the things that happened to you, or you'd be like, holy crap,
I got a lot to overcome.
I walked through hell.
Yeah.
And that made me into such a stronger person. It's like, it's the opposite for me. I'm like, I'm grateful for all those things that I was able to overcome because the more and more that you overcome, the less hard it is
to just exist.
Exactly.
Because honestly, just existing is the most terrible thing. When you're just not feeling good, not feeling bad, you're just like...
And you feel like you're in a rut and you can't figure it out. Yeah, it sucks. Like everybody deals with that. Once you realize that too, though, it's like, oh, well, that makes it easier. I'm going to have those crappy days.
But it's also harder because you do expose yourself to a lot more of that. You know what I mean? A lot more willingly versus like just sitting at home. Like something bad happens, and that was kind of my brother's flaw. Like when something bad would happen, he'd be like, "That's it. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to see people. I don't want to hang out with people." Yeah. Bro, there's a whole bunch of trash people. There's like you meet one dope person, and it outweighs 1,000 bad people.
Exactly. You have a great interaction that day when you had a shitty day. It changes your whole perspective. Yeah. I got cured of that real quick because, growing up in the Russian community and the Russian mentality, hold it in, don't tell anybody, don't embarrass the family, all this other stuff. It's like, I don't see you guys doing so good with that, know? So once people started talking to me about their problems, and I was like, hey, these people are dealing with the same things that I'm, dealing with. Yeah. And then on top of that, I was like, okay, well, let me try to talk, And the first time it was scary, like being honest and real with another person.
Yeah. What if they're going to judge me? What if they think I'm a...
But the next time it was easier. I was like, man, it just started flowing, And it's better to get that shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
Have a cool homie or cool person that you could talk to or whatever. Just shoot the shit a little bit. Be honest, be real.
Yeah.
And get that out of you. and move on instead of like, yeah, just gonna sit with this.
For sure. And so many times people take for granted their friends. You know, honestly, like some people want to talk to somebody like specific. Honestly, the best person to talk to is people who know and love you.
Exactly.
Why? Because they'll understand you better.
Yeah.
You will feel understood when you talk to somebody who you know for a while. Like, I love talking to my parents. I'll talk to them about a whole bunch of things, but there's a lot of things I just can't talk to them.
Yeah, different people have different like influences on your mood, and
it's not just that.
You can talk to different people about different subjects because they'll be more relatable towards that.
And it's not just relatability. Like, for example, I talk to my mom about certain kinds of drugs, so she can't tell the difference between weed and meth and anything and everything, because to her everything's bad. You know, and I get that stance. She grew up where everything was like so divided, very polar. We're all intertwined and this and that.
Yeah.
You know, what's the right way? Honestly, whatever way gets you into heaven, and whatever way helps you to love people more, and whatever way gets you to do more for the kingdom of God, as people may say, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, because everybody, I don't like it when everybody talks like they have it figured out, and they're like, you have to do this and this. Yeah. I'm like, really? Because you might be the only person that's, got this figured out, because I think everybody else is just as confused as I am.
Or they're lying to themselves and they think
yeah. You know, because another guy that told them that I got it figured out and something worked, and they're like, this guy knows everything. Yeah. Now I'm going to tell everybody that I got it figured out because, he told me.
Yeah, statistically speaking, when you do certain things, you're more prone to things to happening good, more than prone to things happening bad. If you drink half a bottle and go try to drive around, that's not a good idea. You're probably going to get a DUI or crash. But if you drink one drink and then go drive, there's a less chance of it. There's still statistics and math and all the other stuff, but like algorithms
figure out what works for you. Yeah. It might not work for somebody else. I mean, sorry to say, man, you know how many Russian Christian people I know that are so against like even alcohol, but they're secretly drinking their wine for medicinal purposes.
Whatever. Let those be. There's worse people out there. The ones that are out there at the buffet chowing down 120 pounds because they're like, so they're gonna go to hell because they had one drink before going to bed. They're sure God's gonna punish them for sure. Wow, this homie's just destroying his temple with like sewage, just sewage. It's not even food. It's garbage. Yeah, he's out there. It's worse than drinking.
I always say everything could be a drug, they consider drug.
Well, I think sin is sin. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're addicted to something, it could be anything. It's not good.
Yeah.
If you can't drop it, if you're addicted to emotions it's not good. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether your addiction is quote unquote better or socially acceptable. Yeah.
There's no better or worse. It's socially accepted or not. Like, we became judges here on earth, like in that moment where everything just fell apart in my life, I was like, if I start hammering down and judging, my brother for doing that, and them for doing that, and them for doing that, and him for that, I'm going to get judged because I did a whole bunch of crap too. You know what I mean? Like, and I know everything I ever did, and I judge myself a lot. And I mean, but when you sit there and just judge yourself and hate yourself for it, and judge yourself, and you embody
anywhere.
You embody it. Yeah. You embody hatred. You embody judgment. But when you stop judging yourself, when you're like, "Yo, I did a lot of messed up crap, but that's because I was messed up."
Yeah, and then you stop judging other people, and then you just live in peace.
Yeah. The commandment in the Bible says, treat others how you want to be treated. It sounds like a commandment and you do it, but it's how you do it literally shows people what you are inside.
Well, guess what? Those people that are judging you or yelling at you, guess what conversation they're having in their
head? Yeah.
Imagine the same one.
Yeah. Like, I'm so much nicer to external people. There's one person in my head, but the homie has a lot of voices sometimes. He's yelling. But like, I'm so much nicer to people externally. So
no, you have to realize that you have to look out for number one. You have to talk to yourself like you would talk to others, or like you have to remember you were a little kid at one point.
Yeah.
And like, would you ever talk to a little kid like the way that you talk to yourself? No. So like, be nice to yourself above all.
Another question is, would you talk to people that you respect and you're responsible for like that?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
But it's like, but then it's acceptable for people to talk to themselves like they would never talk to anybody else. Yeah. Like the kind of like thoughts that are running. I'm so stupid. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Oh my God, Surj. Bro, just chill.
Yeah.
Like, shit happens. Move on. Like, don't let yourself slide.
Yeah.
Just learn from the lesson.
Do your best.
But don't beat yourself up over it too much. You already suffer the consequences.
Yeah. It's
prolonging the suffering.
It's exactly. It's what I've learned is, like, especially in that moment and everything in recent, is like so many times we look for an answer to a question that's not found in a particular field. For example, like, we look for our weight problem at the gym. We're out there putting in work, we're doing all that, but homie, drop the spoon sometimes. Eat healthier. Like, I haven't been to the gym in years, but I started eating healthy. And it changed my life out completely, because when you look for the answer in the wrong place, like, it'll have a 2 to 10%.
You'll keep on hitting yourself, hitting your head against the wall, and
it's not efficient.
Exactly.
It's a waste of energy, and you're wasting so much energy talking crap to yourself.
Try new pathways. Try to look at it from a different angle. Like, that's what works, instead of
follow the route. Ask the questions you don't want to have asked, and all these other things. It's literally doing the things that you do not want to do.
I didn't realize how many people, it's so scary for them to be honest with themselves.
Oh yeah.
And be real and ask those questions that they'd rather just hide away.
I did it for years. I did it for the longest time of my life. I was like, but it's like, when I started asking those questions, because they just kept going and going and going, and I'm like, yo, you run out of fake options, if that makes sense.
You start asking those questions, but be nice to yourself when you realize the true answer, and you're like, oh man, I'm really messed up over there. Yeah. Okay, but don't beat yourself up over it.
That's why, like, I love Christianity as, like, a tool for growth, because you have repentance, which is like, you stop, you drop, and you roll back. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, and so many other things, like, they become like a God responsibility, not a you responsibility. And you can take a lot of weight off of your shoulders and say, this is not something that I'm capable of even doing. But there's a magical man in the sky, as some people might say, that, basically takes this weight off my shoulders and kind of, helps me and loves me and grows me and everything else like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends, not friends, whatever, just people, like, I've met that they don't hate religion. Like, I don't hate religion, even though I do hate religion, like organized religion, just to control you. But it's such a good coping mechanism for a lot of people. Now, so many people need that chain, and everybody's like, it's a chain, it's holding you back, this, that. But a lot of people just need a dog chain.
Yeah, some like it, like, because they're too scared to go and ask those questions themselves.
They're not acting like humans. They're not acting like humans. They're not asking the right questions. They're not even thinking about those things. That's why religion has been enforced.
Like, unfortunately for me, like, having absolute faith in that there's a God and, like, religion kind of has the opposite effect on me, because
I think all of this is in simulation, and I believe that God is like the algorithm that's driving this baby.
Could be like, we'll get into that. Maybe
that's my understanding of it. So don't,
because we don't know. No. Yeah. But like, what
I'm after the spiritual side of it.
Yeah, what didn't work for me, like, and I'm saying, like, I'm the same way as you. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's very good. I am not judging anything. For me personally, it didn't work, because
for me personally, I don't
have that to fall back on, where, like, hey, Surj, you could just ask for repentance and you'll be good. I'm like, no, I have to behave myself, because my actions will hurt that person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a big papa to ask him for forgiveness for this.
Well, my understanding of those things is there's certain things God forgives you for, and there's certain things that people have to forgive you for. So if you're sinning against God,
people are quicker to ask God for forgiveness.
Of course, because it's easier.
Yeah,
like, it's hard to come up to some homie's wife and be like, "Hey, bro, my bad. Me and her got a thing going on. I'm real sorry." You're like, "God, please forgive me for my adultery." You know what I mean? Like, it's so much easier to just jump on that.
Yeah,
but God teaches us.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
Treat other people how you'd want to be treated. If you had a wife and she was knick-knacking on the side, would you want the homie to come and apologize to you, or would you want God to, like, here's a text message, sorry, bro, she's banging him? You know, like, no, you obviously want, like, the responsibility doesn't fall off. Some people want to say it's fall off, and they'll teach you that it just falls off. It's all good, but
there's certain question is an interesting one. Are you in a relationship?
No, I've been single for like 10 years. I had some knickknacks on the side or whatever.
Stay
nothing
single,
serious for 10 years.
We separated not because of that. It was other issues. But like, it's always like in the back of everybody's mind when they're in a marriage and everything like that.
And I just brought it up as an example. I honestly didn't even think about that.
Yeah. But like, it's an interesting subject, and like, this is what I want to ask you. It's like, I see a lot of people either being so controlling that it's like it ultimately leads that person to be pushed away, or
of course
makes them actually go on the side because like, well, I'm already suffering the consequences anyway, so might as well.
I'll piggyback off of that, bro. When I was a kid, everybody thought I did drugs because I had like the eyeliner look and stuff like that, and I was always up playing video games. That was my dream. They're like, "Oh, he looks like he's on something, bro." And it's because their kids were bad. They thought, "Oh, my parents are bad," so I got in trouble for no damn reason. My parents like, "Oh, he's doing this and that." I'm like, bro, why not try everything? Why not do it? I'm already suffering the consequences of doing it to a certain extent, but I didn't even do that. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I talked other kids out of doing it, and I'm suffering the consequences for like being friends with people who do it. So I was like, instead of just saying, "Oh, let me drop these friends or whatever," like it's like, why don't freaking try some of the shit?
Yeah.
Because it's like it pushes you in that direction. Like, my first relationship, there was like a lot of mistrust, a lot of misunderstanding. We were both kids, dumb, and whatever. It's two immature people doing immature things, which leads to more immaturity. So, you put sand on.
Hopefully, there's lessons afterwards, but like it's tough, like making a relationship work when you're younger.
I think it's tough in general. I think it's one of the hardest things you can do, and that's why I've been single this whole time, because it's easier. I don't have to worry about like pissing somebody off or pissing off a balcony. I don't have to worry about I left the socks over there. I left the toilet seat up. Like,
but here's the thing, as cliche as it might sound, but I think the number one key is communication.
Oh, it's not cliche. It's 100%.
No, it's been said so many times that like it doesn't even have a meaning anymore.
I think people don't listen to it and they overlook it.
But I think this is what it means to me, and like if I could explain it, like what that means is have a partner that is able to not only talk to themselves, like we were talking about, be honest. Because if they're not honest with themselves, they're not going to be honest with you. They're not going to be able to talk to you because they're afraid of opening up. You know?
They're a kid immature, like internally, honestly. That's the way I see it.
Yes. They didn't develop that skill set. Yeah. And it's so important because everything in a relationship is about solving issues.
Of course. I think that's all life.
And if you don't solve them, you sweep them under the rug, they're just going to
come back,
fester there, and come back stronger. You know what I mean? So if you're able to like nip it in the bud, just talk about all these different things without getting emotionally wound up or like it leading down to like a breakdown of communication or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's such an important skill.
Yeah.
And if a person doesn't have that, like, don't make excuses and think that, they'll change or something like that.
Yeah.
Because, like, the best quote that I've heard recently is, like, no matter how good you are, you won't bring a bad person up if they don't want to go up.
Exactly.
But a bad person can bring a good person down. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, you just have to find somebody that is already, like, if it's a great communicator, dude, you are on step number 9 of 10, because everything else you guys would be able to figure out.
Yeah, and I think once you like vibe out, oftentimes people have poor communication because they're just not compatible in so many things. Like there's so many stats in the real world, like video games, agility, strength, and magic, or whatever.
Can I say what I think? My theory is like you want to have as much in common in the good stuff, but the bad traits, you want those to be as different. Like, so if you have a bad trait, hopefully that person doesn't have the same bad trait.
Sure.
Like, let's say...
Sure. I get that. Yeah, because negativity will piggyback off of negativity. So if you guys are both prone to jumping off into the left, you're going to bump into each other and be like, why the hell did you jump left?
Yeah.
Like, when one jumps left, one jumps right, you both land in the water, and it's all beautiful.
Yeah, so the more things you could have in common and the positive, you'll relate to that person. You'll have a lot of things that you love to do together. But like the negative traits, we all have negative traits. Of course. And hopefully those are opposite in those people.
For sure.
Yeah.
I get that. But ultimately, like, the more you vibe out, everything, if you can learn to communicate throughout. It's the most important thing, because when you're playing video games, when you're doing work, when you're doing everything, like, if there's more than one person involved, you want to make sure that the people know what they need to know when they do what they do. Playing video games, he's on the left, he's on the right. Doing work, grab that, bring that there. That person hasn't showed up yet, that's not there. Like, it's all about communication. Like, my previous job was logistics, so it was like, logistics sucks. every logistic person sucks. Everything about it sucks.
It's a fire constantly that you're putting out.
It's a truck, bro. There's 18 wheels to blow. Like, it's bad.
You're always getting called up at the wrong time with some big problem that you
exactly. But if brokers would be pissed because I was in the office and I'll be like, what's up? What you want? 2 a.m. Like, where the hell is that? But like, if I was to call them that evening and say, hey, bro, that truck's not going to come. It had a flat tire and then the wind blew it over and then the earthquake happened.
Dinosaurs came back from the
T-Rexes just came back, started clawing at it, bro. We had to back up. But you get it, like what I'm saying, like communication got you paid.
You communicated at the right time.
Yeah. Or like a driver
wait until he's
shows
already
up
pissed off. Yeah.
And doesn't answer the phone. We had one guy that like showed up to the East Coast. I called him 150 times in one day. I had to call Walmart to go wake his ass up in the truck because he's just like, oh, I passed out. He has a clip there to the phone. He wrapped his cell phone up in the blanket so he couldn't hear it. I was like, damn. Bro, like I don't know how much vodka you drank, but that story's not gonna fly. So it's like communication is so important, not just in a relationship. It's even more so in a relationship. But like friendship, like imagine having like sitting there with like we came here and I was just like, it wouldn't go. It wouldn't flow. Like if you can't communicate.
Exactly. Or if I tell you something, you get like butthurt about it or something. It's like, tell me what did I say? Yeah. No, I don't want. No. I don't.
You wouldn't understand.
You should know.
You wouldn't understand.
I'm trying. I'm asking you so I can understand.
I think if I could give girls advice is don't think that guys are as smart as you. We're dumb as shit. We're dumb as shit.
Well, we can't read minds. Yeah. It's
and we're like we got no filter. We're just like, oh, I'm sad. And girls are like, well, it's a lot more complex if that makes sense.
It's weird because I grew up with sisters. Yeah. And I think there's less differences.
How many sisters did you have?
6.
Oh shit.
And 4 brothers.
Oh, okay.
But like
you had a big statistics base though.
Yeah, my part of like the generation, I guess. There was more sisters, so it was like I was surrounded by sisters and one like younger brother, 5 years younger than me. Yeah, and for the longest time, he was just like not existing.
Yeah, for 5 years, he was just like.
So I grew up with sisters, and I mean, like, there's so many traits that like women have that you would think that it's a manly trait, and then there's so many traits that guys have that you would think that it's a feminine trait. Yeah, so it's like it's not about man or woman, it's about human being, and just work on those skills that are going to make you a better human being.
I'm going to agree with you and disagree with you. Okay. I agree with you 100% on the daily, but when emotions hit, guys have testosterone and they're just like a couple other things. We got balls. That's all we got. We get angry, we break shit, and that's our thing. Okay. Girls, they got estrogen, they got all these other more complex systems that function differently. So like as much on the daily basis, like a person could be masculine or feminine. Like I'll some days I'll be more masculine. I'm like shotam vacha. And some days I'll be more feminine. Like whatever, dude. Yeah. But, or that's the way we look at it. But in the core, when shit hits a fan, when like you go into beast mode, when the human part goes away and the meat responds. Let's put it this way, if that makes sense. That's where like the biggest difference is.
Women are more compassionate. They're more
for the most part,
more emotionally
connected. But if they're hurt, they're usually more sadistic, more like.
Oh yeah,
that's the sad part.
That's the crazy like very part. Vengeful.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Is like when it's good, it's great. When it's bad,
that's why terrible. I say. Prenups are amazing.
Prenups was invented by the white man to make sure the white man stays white.
No. Prenups were invented by a genius.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I'll tell you this.
There's a guy with an angry wife.
This is my take on it, right? Yeah. Because a marriage is
it's a partnership.
Law binding agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're going into that binding agreement backed by severe consequences and everything like that in a good state of mind, both of you. Yeah. In good spirits, in love, like all these other things.
Sure.
Now, you don't even want to think about like the possibility. Guess what? You don't want to think about death, but you're going to die someday.
Of course.
But you might get into a car accident someday too. That's why you get insurance, right? Yeah. So when you're in that good state of mind, go and get insurance against that possible rainy day, and come to a mutual agreement. Like, hey, is this fair? Like, if we are parting ways, because people get very creative of how they show you that they're out of love with you.
Yeah.
When the marriage is over. So like, why don't you do that when you guys are both in a good state of mind?
Yeah. And honestly, I want to marry a girl that says, yeah, hell yeah, let's get a prenup, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Where she wants to protect her assets. Because oftentimes guys think like, oh, she's just going to bum off me. But like, if you find the right girl and she got money and she got authority and she's a badass, she's going to want a prenup too.
Yeah.
She's going to want a prenup too because she's going to be like, bro, these Russian guys are fucking finesse. They're finesse all day.
That's what I told my wife. We had this conversation. And for like, obviously... That was like at first a bit kind of like, I'm not sure. Is he genuinely like? Is he genuinely saying this, or is he just like? And I explained that to her like that way, you know, like, hey, I know I'm not like that. Yeah. I hope that you're not like that either. But like, there's things that you have to consider.
Sure.
So that
you got
like,
certain
it's already
responsibilities.
painful.
Yeah.
You're not going to suffer any additional consequences, and that's it. And people are like, oh, but if you
when
have
you don't have a back door,
it's so easy. Yeah, you're not going to want to jump off. Guess what happens in those marriages where you don't think you have options? Shit goes south real bad. Because and people get desperate, people do some stupid stuff and whatever. I always told her, like, hey, I want you to be happy and I want you to be by my side, but like, just know, like, I'm not keeping you. I want us to.
You're not my property.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a life, you got a soul, you got things you're responsible for. Yeah, of course. It's when you got a small mind about it, it seems like a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like when I first glance at it, like everything that's bad in my life is terrible, and it shouldn't have happened, and it should be just paved in $1 bills all the way through. You know, because they got a long life to go or whatever. But in reality, all that strife, all that problems, all those things, like that tension, that pressure, that's what made me better. That's what drove me to be better. That's what made me, like, I got to roll up the sleeve. I can't just be like, half-assing this. I have to like roll up the sleeve, really get, involved into this and really live, because it's, when you're over there like watching TV, you got like, the one part of your brain going like the I just want to see shit part of your brain where like I want to see that, I want to see that, I see that. But when you're skydiving, like I'm scared of heights. I jumped off a cliff in Hawaii. It wasn't like 20 feet from me. It was like, yo, this is insane.
When you're on top, it looks so scary. I know.
Yeah. And I was like, I climbed up there and I literally like lingered for 15 minutes in the middle of it. I didn't want to stand at the edge. I didn't want to build on that anxiety. And I knew if I came up and I was like, oh no, I would
build up more and more and you would go out.
Yeah, exactly. You either go to the top, go do it. If you're scared of it, just go do it.
Yeah.
Or just stand around, do your thing. You know what I mean? Like,
so it's almost like what you're saying is like be intentional instead of just floating along in life. And
the only thing that floats around unintentionally is shit. Everything alive is putting in effort.
And your life will be shit if you just...
Yeah, everything alive is putting in effort to be alive. Like, the world is so brutal in its nature.
Yeah.
In its nature. But we forget that because we built houses.
And it's short.
Roads.
Before you know it, you'll be
let's not even talk about that. Let's skip that. Just put that aside. But like, for a bug to live and exist, he has to watch out like all the time because he's got other bugs to watch out for.
If anybody's living in the moment,
slapping homies and shit. You know what I mean? Like it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
But we built roads. We built this. We built that. We overcame that. We're like gods in this world. We are the god of this world. Like if one species had to represent Earth, do you think they're gonna be like, let's send them a macaw? Let's catch a penguin and send him up there. He's gonna be like, no, they're gonna be like, bro, like, which human do we send up there? Do we send that guy, Elon Musk or George Bush, or who do we send? Like that's the question. There's not even like a concern. Okay. Of course, people are gonna be like, protect the butterflies and all that, and I completely, fully support that. Okay. I think we're stewards of this world. Like everything below us is dumb. And if you see something that's dumb and it can't protect us...
They're smart in their own way. It's like, but yeah, we're intelligent. We have more intelligence.
Let's put it this way. We accidentally kill more of them than they could ever kill us. They're dumb. And it's not an insult. They're just there. That's their intellect. That's their space in the world.
So what you're saying is, all right, so once you realize that, you got to be intentional with your...
actions, with everything that you do. Like how much... I started, like, I used to waste a lot just, but I thought about it, like, this has, repercussions for us. This has responsibility. Like, did I stop everything and completely change it? No. But if I alter my life 10% and make this world 10% better, and you do it, and everybody else in the world, that's 1.7 billion people, or 7 billion people doing 10% better.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, like, the consequence of that.
And I used to go so hardcore into something and then die out because I just ran out of energy or whatever. And instead, I just
1% a day.
Yeah, 1% a day. Yeah, like or whatever. Like and realize that there's going to be days that like you go backwards or something like that.
Of course.
Just don't be so hard on yourself because
well,
at the end, 30 years later, it's going to be so much different where you're at.
Of course. And like in that moment when I was like just and finding my brother, sorry, because I go moment, but not bring it up. So like I found my brother and that's the moment of it. I split into two people. There was the thinker and there was the doer, you know? And the thinker just went nuts and thought. And I couldn't do anything. And then the doer's like, shut the hell up. Let's get shit done. And just boom, boom, boom. And then afterwards, it was like, just thinking about like, this is so bad and so painful. And it's just so much that I cannot move. I cannot do anything. I felt like I was in like Tahoe in like February or something, March or something. Cold. It's cold. I did 3 minutes. I was like numb. And I was sitting there for 15, 20 minutes and I felt like I was at the bottom of that lake. I couldn't breathe. I had to like relearn how to breathe and all that.
During that moment that you
During the moment, yeah. When everything just hit, if that makes sense. Because it was it took a while. It took like 45 minutes for like the information to be digested enough to like fully understand like how bad it is. How like shit hit the fan. It's fucked up type of moment. But afterwards, it was like, I knew that I had to hurt a lot. But I also realized like I'm still alive and he did it, so I don't have that option anymore.
Yeah,
because
you're like,
I'm a copycat.
Yeah,
I'm a little bitch copycat if I do it. If that makes sense. So
yeah.
So and I know that he would want me to like live on and not give it. He would want me to not even give a shit about it.
Yeah,
that's the kind of person that he was. He's just like, don't bat an eye about it. That's the kind of cold homie. At some moments, he was like that. And
that's a little bit why I think it got him to that.
Yeah, of course.
Place a little bit because you gotta look inward sometimes.
He had a warrior mindset, but he didn't have a war to fight. He was doing radio shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like if he lived in like king slaughtering, sword fighting type bullshit, he would have prospered. You know, because that chemical rush of just like being in battle, he was built for that. I'm not. I'm like, hey, I'm a pacifist.
You can rewire your brain and like to be able to
you can survive anything. You can survive absolutely anything. That doesn't mean you should go out there and do it. You know, sure you can. Like for myself, like I didn't go to the gym for the longest time because I was like, dude, it's easy for me not to go to the gym. Like, look at me, bro. I eat healthy and I'm good. But I'm gonna start hitting the gym. I got my shoulder. I'm working on getting it packed into place and rehealed and stuff like that.
Come through, bro. Over here, our gym just opened up.
Get the pump session. Get the podcast at the gym.
Oh yeah, we got the stationary bike and then we got the pool.
Yeah. But like for me to go do like a makeup, whatever crap, like I would do it good because I have some artistry in me, but it's not like my passion. It's not something like what I'm worried about. I'm not passionate about working out, but it's an easy way for me to like excel way past a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's good in either way. That kind of physical struggle makes you mentally more prepared for the day.
I took that for granted because how easy it was for me to look good. And I thought it was all about the looks. But the amount of, like, I did stretches and I did light exercises. That's why you don't see me, like, all fucking buffed out or whatever. Mm-hmm. But just doing it, just doing 5 push-ups every day for a week has an effect on you. More so psychologically than physically.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's consistency. It's you going out of your way to do the specific task. That's why, like, all like religions, all things that like change a human being to the core level effect is consistency. Like
our habits are so
our habits are consistent.
Yeah, and either you could have a bad habit or start to develop a good habit.
I'll repeat it again. Our habits are consistent. what you put in, you will get out. You know, like if you put in positivity, growth, a mindset, like you'll mess up. Don't worry about that. You'll have enough negativity along the way. Don't force it down your mouth.
Yeah,
and think about it and chew on it. Like it's not a hot dog.
Don't make it into a habit.
Don't even eat hot dogs
because there's enough bullshit out there that
why would you go out of your way? Why would you go out of your way to get more of what you don't like?
Exactly.
But like a lot of people, they do. You know, for a long time I did. You know, and that's why I'm able to talk about it and laugh about it. Everything that I kind of overcome, I laugh about because it becomes funny to me.
Yeah, because you've dealt with it enough that it's like it's not emotionally
I cried
painful.
so much about it that all I can do emotionally is laugh.
Exactly.
It's the only way to describe it. It's the only way to describe it for me, you know. So
it's so important. I'm so glad that like you have that introspective kind of personality now, like because it will help you figure out yourself throughout life and the problems that you encounter and everything like that.
You know what my favorite part is? It's gonna help other people too.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm in a position to be able to help other people. Like when I'm in a good spot. Like a lot of the time, I hated being in a good spot because it's a spotlight, and I kind of hated the spotlight for a time. It's like this, mixed vibe. Like I love the spotlight now. Like I'll get some cameras on this, but like because confidence is there, and I survived a lot, and I understood like what I thought messed me up made me stronger.
Exactly.
But for a long time, it did mess me up, and it was like bending. But when it bended too much and it didn't break, it flopped back into place. Yeah. It came down halfway, came down a quarter, whatever. But like it still made me like. I'll tell people about like, yo.
Yeah, but some people just like, man, when is this shit rain going to stop? You know,
it's
but
not.
It's not. Yeah. It's just like
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, but like you develop enough emotional armor that you're capable of going through so much, and it's like now the stuff that would like just crush you before. Yeah, I was like, I'm cool.
Yeah, it's like playing Call of Duty, whatever, right now, and then playing the first Call of Duty. The graphics, like how hard the game is, even like it's you can't compare the two.
Yeah,
there's bullet drop, there's physics. And
same thing with life. You now, like
same thing with life. When you were 6, you dealt with 6-year-old problems, and unfortunately for some people, they had to deal with older people problems and problems that people shouldn't ever have to face. But if you let it like mess you up, and for my older brother, like he puts a lot of like guilt and blame it in other people. He did this, she did that, and for a long time I did too, and because of him, I had a lot of problems. But when I realized, like, that's not because of him. It's because I choose to give him power over me and how I live my life and how I interact with this world. And I was like, I got to take responsibility for my actions.
Exactly.
And then, and oftentimes people are like, if they do this, I'll do that. But like, bro, you are the main character of your life.
Yeah.
When you wake up, nobody else wakes up. Nobody else ain't doing shit. You woke up. You're taking a shit. Who cares what everybody else is doing? You're not gonna give a crap to them, right? When we're doing our basic needs, we understand it. But when we live our life as a full, we just like so overlook it, and we're just like, this person has that. No, you control almost everything about yourself.
Yes, you
have no control of what will
happen to you, but you always have a choice of how you react.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, like that's why like being emotionally intelligent is probably the biggest superpower that you could have.
Oh yeah,
and that means like emotional intelligence means like having a brain that's also smart. You know, to know how to. If you're emotionally intelligent, you're able to work through the difficult situations in your life and figure them out,
and use the bad ones to grow you and figure out what got you
instead
there.
of it dropping you on your ass. Like, I just move on stronger from it. Like things happen. Like I used to mope about this or that.
I still do from time to time.
But I listen to a lot of like, like 13-hour biographies of amazing people, right? It's sometimes even longer because I would be driving trucks all the time. I was like, this guy seems interesting. Let's see his biography. Man, people went through so much worse crap than me, and they came out so much better than me. I'm like, what the hell is my
how
excuse?
Is that possible?
My life is nothing compared to like what those people went through. Yeah. And I'm like, that's it. That cured me of that real quick. Obviously, it didn't cure me right away, but I was like, at least I started to look at it from a different perspective. Instead of like, oh, woe is me and this and this. It's like, no, just listen. Shit happens. Try to figure it out. It's going to be tough in the moments, whatever.
Sure.
But don't look at it that way. Just move forward.
Sure.
Learn the lessons that you learned there and move on. And that's it.
And I think you oftentimes, once you reach a certain level, you overlook that moment of moping. And I think moping is perfectly fine, but you have to do it for a while. Like there was a moment where like I grieved absolutely. I didn't say nothing. I didn't eat. I showed up home for lunch. I didn't eat till like 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? No appetite. And there was no appetite for like weeks afterwards. I still like it comes and goes and comes and goes. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it just like goes away and comes back. But like I knew that if I didn't eat, nobody else would eat. I knew if I wouldn't live my life right, I would set an example for so much other people.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but my brother's dead. I can't fix that. You know?
Yeah.
And I have to live on. I have to be sure that I'm so good that I can actually help him leave a legacy and change. And like me and him like got to spend so much more time in the last 2 months than like a year or 2 years before that, because he quit his job and we were just talking. I got to know him so much closer, and I think that's what made it so much harder for me, but so much easier for me, because so many people wish for that. They're like, I wish I hit him up. I wish I did that. I wish I was a maximum. I was an extreme. I was borderline like, this guy is accomplish myself. You know what I mean? Because we're different people. Like I'm so extroverted. He's so introverted. But at the core, we're such like he loved people more than himself by a substantial amount. And I think that's where a lot of his trouble came from. Is he loved people too much, and he thought if he helped enough people, he'll be happy. But he never like looked at himself and said, hey, let me make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah,
so I'm in a position to help people.
Yeah.
I realized that. I realized that like a couple of years before that, but I'm not as extreme as he is. You know, he would push it to the limit and then pass the limit in everything that he would do. And I realized like sometimes forget the limit. Just catch 3 fish, catch 2 fish, forget the limit. Like you gotta get back in. It's raining, it's storming, it's bad. And that's how life is. Like we don't think it's that simple and destructive and brutal and hard, but it is. And mentally,
it's so easy for us to overcomplicate things. You just have
yeah.
to step back and try to simplify any situation. Like you said, like seeing that, they're like, hey, I can't do anything about it. My brother is dead.
Yeah.
Like, so either I could sit here and try to wish this or the other. This is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And let's try to move forward in a smart way and just take that time for yourself to heal. But yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, it's not let's try it. The thing is the time is still flowing. You know, it's like a river. It's just going and going. And if you're gonna be out there like not reacting to what you need to react, you're gonna get banged on rocks and you're gonna get more beat up and more beat up. And yeah, you gotta park your canoe and pull over and cry, whatever it is you gotta do to make yourself be okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about being great. Don't worry about being excellent. Just be okay when you can't be okay. When everything's falling apart, just be okay.
Yeah. Like in the tough times, you can't wish for amazing times. Just wish for being okay in the moment,
or just to get through.
The amazing times are still in the future and everything. Just get through it.
Everything's a cycle, you know. Like this year has been such mixed vibes for me because it's like the best and the worst year of my life, and it was like that since day one, damn near. You know what I mean? Like, it came in like, and I was like, yo, this is like kind of pissing me off. Like, is this a good year or a bad year? You almost
gotta stop looking at like, oh, is this great? Is this? There's a little bit of good in the bad. There's a little bit of bad in the good. So it's like, it is what it is.
It is what it is, exactly. And oftentimes we want to say that it's like that or like that, but it is what it is. And like, I had a person ask me, like, do you think you'll get over it? And I said, I don't think that's the question that I'm asking myself even. It's not a matter of if I'll get over it. Like, this has changed me. How much and what it will change about me, that's my decision. But this is not something I was just like, oh, it expired 24 months late. I'm over it.
I'm just going to try to forget about it.
I'm over it, you know. It's all good. I'm over it now. You're like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, some days I'm so good. Like, I was in Hawaii. Like I said, it was the time of my life. Climbing mountains, hiking, doing all this and that. Like, I haven't lived so much in a while.
And then in those quiet moments, all of a sudden it hits you. Yeah. I know what you mean.
And it was like, what's funny is like, I seeked after them. I wanted to feel bad because I hurt. You know, and you kind of decide whether you want to be happy or you want to be sad. You know, and then that's like messed me up.
Let me tell you something, because I could relate to that so much about like in those quiet moments. I had a day a couple of days ago. I get up, I'm so like, you know, I got up early, I started doing things. I'm like, and I'm just kicking ass, you know, like doing things.
Yeah.
And it's almost like your brain is like, hey, you gotta think about this.
Stop.
You gotta,
stop. You're having too much fun. Life's too good, baby. Sit down.
So I'm waiting for something to like, I think the laundry was going or something like that. 10 more minutes, and I sit on the sofa for 10 minutes, and bro, I was about to go run some errands. I just sat there and I was like, man, I can't even move. I started thinking about like the divorce and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh man, I just hit me because this was like 2 p.m. already. You know, I got so much done. I woke up at 6, you know, and then just like it just all hit me at once, and I was like, all right, Surj, you're not going nowhere. Just take that time.
For me, it was like I had to deal with certain responsibilities like of the moment. And I remember talking to people like more recently, they're like, yo, sorry for bugging you in that moment. And I was like, that bugging is what I needed.
Yeah,
I needed distractions. I needed something to be angry about other than this. I needed something to like.
Yeah, just call somebody up in the moment. I called a couple
I had 5 people around me, bro. I had 5 people around me, but at the same time, it was like I knew that, but we were all grieving. We were all had this mindset of like, yo, this is the end. This is that. But I was like, you'll say like in the moment I was talking about all positivity.
Turning around their conversation.
No, we were talking positivity, but it's one thing to talk about. It's one thing to do.
Feel
it,
like,
But when other crap externally, which you cannot ignore, you simply cannot ignore. You know what I mean? Like no matter what, and it's like if you're saying you won't ignore it, if that makes sense, then I'm very practical, and that's why I got the 2 phones. Very practical about things. You know, I keep things separated. I have homies with iPhones, hit me up on my iPhone. Homies that don't have FaceTime, hit me up on my Android. It's easier to remember. But anyways, but like it was good. Like I mean, like it was a nudge off that cliff that I was jumping off in Hawaii, but it was just like somebody else doing it to me. Like I had to do that to myself in Hawaii off that cliff. Like if my homie just grabbed me and said, "Let's do it together," I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." I'm not no bitch. She's gonna grab my hand and jump in the water. I'll do it. Bro, I face planted, hit the water. I got up and I was like, "Yo, I'm just glad I jumped off," because I thought honestly, like I came up there and I was like, I'll do my best, and I honestly thought I wouldn't for the longest time. If I went out to the music, I was all excuses on excuses on excuses. I was too scared to do it.
Guys, I'm just feeling the music.
Have you heard the Hawaiian music? I got a ukulele as soon as I came back, bro. I was like, I gotta learn how to play it now. Don't play with instruments much.
Dude, I used to be the biggest hater against Hawaii for the longest time. I was like, so like whatever, people, everybody. I'm like, I went there. And
it's
I was
a vibe.
Like, man, I don't want to leave. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. I don't know. Like,
I think it's the culture of it, the culture of the island, the culture of the land. Like, you go to LA, you get LA vibes or whatever. It's like the auras or whatever. I call it vibes. It's just easier that way.
Yeah.
You go to SD, it's different. You go there, it's there. Like, the spirit of the city, if you will, where like how like the wavelengths go throughout and what people feel when they come there. Like, you come during a riot. Like, no, I don't want to be here. You come there during like the tourist attractions, like a carnival. Like I hate big events because I'm like, there's just traffic. There's no shit to see, but there's traffic.
So Hawaii has its own just that kind of
the spirit of aloha, bro.
Seriously, you guys were on what island?
Oahu, wherever Waikiki Beach in Honolulu is.
Not familiar. We went to Maui.
Okay.
And just
how was it? Was it more like city? Was it more like jungle? How was it?
It was more like the whole island as a resort, and like no big buildings, nothing. Everything was just so chill. Like Maui, I don't know how the other ones are, but man, dude,
wherever we were at Waikiki Beach, capitalism galore, bro. At the Sheraton Hotel, we go downstairs. There's a Gucci store, a Fendi store next to it, like all that stuff. Bro, homies pressure washing the sidewalk every day, keeping it pristine, like capitalism galore, buildings and buildings and buildings, pools on pools on pools, and then you go to the other side. There's like nothing but jungle. So it's such a small little place compared. Like you could go around in like 4 hours if everybody stayed at your way. It'd be like a 45-minute track run if you wanted to run like a F1. It'd be 15 seconds, but it was just so different from place to place that. The weather was different. Like some places like foggy, rainy, whatever, all day, damn near all day. And then you go to the other side, sunny. I don't know. It's just, It's
I was surprised with how much variety there was on Maui because you go up to the top of the mountain over there, Mount Haialakala, I think it's called, where the observatory is.
Yeah.
And you're literally above the clouds. So it looks like you're looking at the ocean, but it's actually the clouds that you're looking at.
That's cool.
And there's like cool little restaurants. Obviously, like those high-end hotels are there, and there's like a shopping center. Just anything that you would want, it's there. bro.
But I think it's the things that you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, you have the stores, the places that, but like
the
people,
spirit of just it relaxes you
place,
for some reason. Like
yeah, and I think it's like the way the people there lived before, if that makes sense. Like
yeah.
They teach it in like no matter how many there is of you, if you're like the more people do it, if you're richer or poor or whatever, you're gonna follow the mass, no matter what you do. You know what I mean? Like no matter how rich you are, if you're Bezos or not, like you're still gonna be happier or sadder depending on everybody else, because other people just won't let you be. Like that's how empathy works.
So people over there just basically, I think, have an influence on.
First, one white person showed up, and then 10, and then 20. But like there's like maybe thousands of natives there. So the natives are just chilling. White people showed up with stress and democracy and capitalism, but they just couldn't kill it.
They changed it, but yeah, they couldn't kill that spirit.
They altered it. Yeah. They couldn't kill that spirit because the law has a vibe and it's a spirit, man.
No, seriously. Yeah. It's just like the kindness that you see in those people.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of resentment with some people.
Of course.
When it comes to...
It's everywhere. You know, you go to like, if you go to like city Russia, it's going to be very similar to like city New York, where like everybody just like segregated, separated, and it's all like, divided and stuff like that. But if you go to like Siberia, or you go to another place where the elements are just really against you, and in order to survive, you need to have friends and family and frenemies, and who like... Ultimately, a human life is very valued out there, because today I'll help you, you'll help me tomorrow. Like I talked to a guy who grew up in Siberia, and he's like, one thing that I did like growing up in Siberia was everybody loved everybody when the time came to it. Like during the day, we beat the crap out of each other, but when that midnight freeze over came, if I saw a homie that I hated yesterday, I'll drag his ass inside, leave him on the couch, let him thaw out, survive the night, because tomorrow he might save my ass, because there's 12 of us out here.
Yeah.
You know, and same thing with being out in like tropical lands, automatically chills you out. You know, I don't know what happened to the Italians. They're closer to the Italians, but they're stressed out about some reason. But whatever.
Have you been to Italy?
Nah. I'm just talking crap. I definitely want to go. One of my buddies said that he's like, that's my favorite place in the world.
Dude, I want to go. We should make it happen.
Oh yeah, what's that?
And you got to go probably like for about 2.5 weeks, probably.
10 days will get you situated.
Yeah,
but if you want to,
maybe
for the first time. Yeah, I did 7 days in Hawaii. It was just not enough. 10 days is perfect, because you'll have the 2 days of like flying in and flying out, and the stress of like logistics. Another day if you're like gonna be traveling around, so you're literally gonna lose like 24 hours just moving around.
Well, I saw a statistic that I think about 10 days is the optimal, because no matter if you stay much longer or whatever, the effect doesn't stay with you longer.
Yeah.
And you get all the benefits in about 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I knew 10 days was up without even the statistic. I got that one figured out.
We'll talk about this, because Italy is on my bucket list.
Yes. No, I got Italy, Japan. And honestly, like when it comes to like Italy, I want to do just a Euro trip for like a month. Or just like figure shit out, pay my bills off, save up. I want to go where like money's not a concern. That's how it was in Hawaii. Because like I expected to spend money on myself and my brother, because he was like tight on money. He was just starting out for himself, and I was just like, yeah, I got money saved up for this very occasion, because like,
that's what you want to go on vacation when you're like. So
that's why I want to have money to spend it on vacation, and friends and family and everything else like that. Like, it doesn't motivate me the same as other people, but it's so much better when you do spend it, and you're just like, it was worth every penny.
Exactly, dude. The coolest experiences that I had at the moment, I just had credit cards, you know, but I was like, you know what? If this might be a once in a lifetime thing that I'm doing, just let's do it right. Yeah. And I went to the fullest, and I was like, man, that was amazing. All those memories, and I'm just like, all right, I did it right. Because it saddens me to see people that go on vacations or go to places
and they don't do nothing.
Or they don't do it properly, and they're like, well, I don't know, it was all right. It's like, yeah, you barely did anything, and you cheaped out on everything.
You're out there drinking Four Locos, man. Like, it can't be great.
Save up a little and live a little.
Yeah. If you're taking care of yourself to begin with, if you're growing yourself as that experience, money should not be a concern. Money is just a transfer of wealth. It's a tool. And oftentimes we miss that. I couldn't get it figured out. I couldn't get it under control. It dominated me for so long because I thought there was so much more. It was like this magical beast that gets you what you want. No, it's a transfer of wealth. You wasted time to get money. Use that money to waste somebody else's time and get whatever the hell they need, like you want from them. Ultimately, it's just like, I don't have a goat that I want to trade for a chicken anymore. No, we don't even have gold coins because the economy is so big that we don't have enough real things to trade.
Figure out a way to have that money possibly make you more money.
It's not even about making more money or less money. It's once you figure out what it is, it's easier to put it to work or do whatever it is that you want with it.
Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah. It's nothing more, nothing less than like the biggest game we have. It's the biggest game of Monopoly we have ever played.
Oh, 100%.
Cavemen started it with like gold bits and pieces. Almost like, I trade that rock for that rock, and we're still playing that game till this day. And it's some games, they're just like, they're worth playing. I mean, like the game of courtship, the game of dating, and all these other games like that we play. They're nothing more and nothing less than these stupid ass little games that we play. If we were chimps, we wouldn't play these games. We play different games, but that's what makes us humans. We
and
play
everything
these
is
games.
possible to figure out.
Of course,
like and you don't just have to figure it out on your own, because there's a lot of people before you that went and figured it out, and they could tell you.
You don't have to go research mathematically gravity. They got it. You could probably print that equation where it describes it. But you can piggyback off that and make something else. Like, for example, like Elon Musk is Elon Musk because Charles Darwin was Charles Darwin, and the people before him achieved the things that they did. If one of those homies fell out, he would not be Elon Musk. He'd be Elon Tusk or something. You know what I mean? That's it might have changed the plot completely or nothing at all.
He's able to utilize the knowledge that was already found and do something with it new.
And we are too on the daily. We take that for granted. How much we do on the daily and don't even think about it, we don't give ourselves credit for. Like how much math knowing no math is more math than thousands, if not billions, of people before you. You know 1 + 1 = 2? You're smarter than so many people throughout history. Kings, queens, and all these other things. But they didn't need that back then, And we look at it, we don't need it now. You don't, but you do. It's this like, when you learn how to swim, you can swim. And same thing with it. Like all these games that we play as a society, we have to play these games in order to be in the society. Like when you start walking around doing weird things, you're going to get looked at weird. So that's why, like, certain games, it's better to play, and it's safer and beneficial for everybody to play. Like if it's soccer, like that's a dope game. You run around kicking balls, you're getting exercise in basketball, these other things. Chopping up people like the Mayans. Who am I to judge? But we got MMA, people breaking ankles and stuff. So it's like we want to say that we've evolved.
Did you see that?
I just saw the ankle break. I didn't watch the fight. I'm not.
I was at a bar. I was watching it, and it was like, oh.
Did you hear the cracking noise or not?
Nobody realized that happened. Connor didn't even realize that it happened until the bell rang. And then he's like, oh, he sat down. He's like, oh, I think my ankle's broken.
I can't get up.
Yeah.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah, I remember that commercial.
Life alert, baby.
Oh, no.
Thank you for sponsoring us today.
Right. Yeah. No, life is definitely an interesting game that you could figure out. Most people, they just got to learn not to be too down on themselves and not to be too hard on themselves.
I think it's ultimately playing the game. I told my cousin told me, like, I kept telling it to him, and he's just like, bro, I'm so glad you told me. He's like, don't take life too seriously. You're not going to get out alive. It's literally just a game we play. Like I said, it's a simulation. It's the promised land. It's the future that matters, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of Christianity even teaches you that, like, I started to dissect it, and I'm more after the message that it teaches rather than the instrument that's used to teach it. So often people are like, this is so flawed. Copper Age people wrote it down. I was like, bro, show this homie a DVD. He's going to think you're a wizard back then. You know what I mean? Like, now imagine the creator of this universe trying to tell a caveman or a Copper Age man, like, yo, write this down. It's like, bro, I just learned how to write. What do I write? And he shows him a dope-ass PDF presentation. The homie's like, there's rockets, there's this. How do you describe rockets? How do you describe wheels? How do you describe all these other things?
The Bible just tries its best to
I think it's you have to try your best to understand it more so than it doesn't try. It's just chilling. It's data in the raw.
For me, I found other ways that were more digestible.
Sure. Of course.
Because you could read that huge book and you get lost or you might not understand it. But I just like to simple words and like, hey, this is why, this is this.
Sure.
And, read psychology, read,
Sure.
motivational things, whatever. That'll help you get through. And then if you
for me, it was a combination of everything. Like, I studied Taoism, and that made me a better Christian, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was able to interact with the avatar, as I call my body. Like, I call bodies avatars. Like, I exist spiritually. That's what I believe, right? But this is my avatar on Earth. It's a meat bag.
Yeah.
This game is messed up. usually get cheat codes and digital pixels. No, you get a bag of meat with blood and all this other gooey stuff going around. You're like, here, enjoy it. This is dope.
And you didn't have a choice which meat bag you're going to get.
It's just like, what's going on? You just spawn and then you don't respawn. And then, like, if you do have to respawn, who knows? And none of the characters are there. It's weird. It's not like the games that we're used to playing, But when I came into it with like a more playful mindset, when I didn't take it super religious seriously, the Pope said so type shit, what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I grew up in like a Pentecostal home, but I saw like the traditions of the Eastern Orthodox where they would just do all this religious crap. They wore their robes, they lit the candles, and we're like, that's religious crap. And then we come over to America and we're doing other religious crap.
Exactly.
And so much of my life, I have been, even till this day, I still do religious crap. I'll do things that I don't believe in. And I think that's the biggest thing that I do is like, I half-ass that shit. If I fully believe it, if I fully live it, if I can embody it and bring it out to other people, like, would you not want to, like, dude, what are you on? If I'm out there just living my best life, just glowing.
Exactly.
Like Moses, bro.
You would be a better example for people instead of just trying to tell them.
Like, listen to this. I have the truth.
Yeah. Live your truth and you'll be an inspiration.
Truth is like water. People will ask for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you are honest, when you are truthful, like, if somebody asks you to talk to you, like, that's a you problem, not a them problem. Sometimes it's a them problem. Be compassionate. Understand that they are just as hurt and butthurt as you are. They love and hate just like you do. Like, I think we overlook that. We think other people are smarter than us or dumber than us, but that's only because we underestimate ourselves and overestimate other people. Like, I never put the expectations on other people that I do on myself. Not because, like, better than everybody else.
Because you don't know that person.
Yeah, I got no idea what the limit is. Like, I know where my limit is. You don't know
what their motivations are.
They might like, they might hate. They're like, why would I want somebody to suffer through some bullcrap that I enjoy?
Yeah.
Like, that'd be terrible. Like, so they're going to talk me out of enjoying my own thing because, like, well, this kind of sucks.
It's sometimes hard to realize that. Like, because we have expectations of other people, in relationships and all this other stuff. Yeah, like, or in business. It's
in every aspect. We box up those things, but you can have relationships in business and love and boxing and all these other things that are so intertwined and so segregated because we think that they are, because we
I think a lot of the things that you learn in business and your relationships, everything like that about yourself, it translates to other fields.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
and you can't be just like, I'm this kind of person, but
in business, I'm like this.
No.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who we worked with in logistics. He's an older cat. He's like in his 50s. And I was like early 20s when we first started together. He hated me at first, but we ended up being like really good friends, and we still talk. We don't work together, but we still talk. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he brought up was, man, I totally forgot what I was talking about. Too much backstory. What did you say?
Like if you're like this in this, you're going to be completely different.
Yes, thank you. So he said, people say it's not business. It's not personal. It's business. And he's like, I take business very personal. And I'm like, bro, I do not take business personal at all. Like, people pay me to be here. I don't like this shit. I'm a whore right now. When you box it up like that, it's easy. It's easy to put up with all the daily work grind, because from 8 in the morning till 4 in the evening, or from 9 in the morning till 5 p.m., from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 in the evening, whatever it is that you're getting paid for, you are a professional. You do not have to take it personally. You're getting paid to be there. If you don't like
That's what you mean by boxing up.
Boxing it up. It's easier to deal with it. Like, just box it up.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid for this. How can I complain? I can complain to the boss and say, yo, dog, I'm not getting paid enough for this crap
Hey,
anymore. And that's a conversation you have to have sometimes, you know. And I hate having that conversation. I'm the opposite of that.
Really, you should learn because
I've learned it. I'm quitting. You know what I mean? Like my previous boss, the best boss I've ever worked for, he gave me 2 raises without me asking for him. And I was just like, dog, I'm not ready for this. Like, chill. You know what I mean? So it's like everything was done to make me stay, but I'm still leaving because it's just like it's what I ultimately want to do, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I understood that. I'm glad that it took me, usually I work in a company for a year and a half, 2 years. In my old company before that, I think I did like 4 years. For my dad, I worked for like 4 years. And I wasted 8 years of my life just off the bat. And then another 4, you know, like I wasted like 12 to 14 years of my life doing shit for other people to get them paid and make myself some money, versus like if I was to just dive balls to the wall, like my cousin Behazel, shout out. Cat's 19. He's got his YouTube channel. He's got everything so much more figured out than I have in a lot of spheres, and that's because he put in the grind.
Yeah.
While I was out there liking and texting people and this and that, he was putting in the grind. He was setting himself up. You know, I'm doing that now.
He was watching videos on how to do that stuff.
There was no videos back then, bro. He was making that. He has the courses now. You could buy them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he put himself in a position that guaranteed or like really opened up success, you know? And so many times I would have been in that position, but I just like doubted myself or didn't want to do the work. And because no matter what you want to do, it's not going to be good from day one. Your first video is not going to be the dopest. Your first song is not going to be the dopest. Like if you
think about that too much, it'll
disdain you. You have to have like a larger margin of error. Like it's about
again that communication with yourself. Be nice to yourself. Like
forgive yourself.
Yeah,
forgive yourself. Like I was like a 99.7% perfectionist. Where like nothing I did was ever good enough. But then I was like, I gotta dial down the notch because I'm over there like above other people. And I'm not trying to be prideful or whatever, but just people just don't give a shit about shit that I give a shit about.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me different. That's what makes me great.
So can I tell you something that hopefully cures even more of that?
Sure.
I listened to this one guy and he's like, hey, in our business, we just start and we keep on reforming the way that we do things.
Sure.
Because by the time we start thinking how we can make it perfect, like the other company is, we already are on phase number 10, and we're so far more ahead, and we actually tested it in the real life. So just start, because trying to make it perfect, it's not going to work. I mean, do as much as you can, but then just starting is like the best way that you can make it perfect. It's about giving up on the word perfection, because perfection is a lie. It's nothing more than just disguised as a snapshot of the moment. You know, that month, on that day, on that quarter, that year, they did great. They had stupendous sales. But then the month after that, what happened? And you know what I mean? Like, you can't look at everything in just like one moment and say like that's the most beautiful moment or whatever. And I learned that, and I think it's something that you just continue learning. It's not something that you learn and you put it on your belt like you got the badge. It's dope. I got the achievement unlocked. Stupendous. Not like it's
so much.
It's an endless class.
Mm-hmm. When you reach a level, you realize like how low you are on the spectrum, and you're just like, wow, I got into it now. I got excited.
How do I get there?
And it's like once you get to level 1, you'll get to level 2. Once you get to level 3, you'll get to level 4.
Exactly. But if you're waiting for...
But if you skip levels, you'll come right back to the very first level and restart over again because you don't have everything you need to be what you need to be to do what you need to do.
Example, why do most people that win the lottery lose all that?
Because they're not ready to handle millions of dollars. They had $20 in their pocket before that. It's not like racism or sexism or this. It's just a person was not ready to deal with that kind of responsibility, because $1 million has one responsibility, $20 has a different responsibility, $1 has
20 million has a different responsibility,
of course, and $1 billion has its own responsibility. But like, whether you're up or down by $20, like $20 ain't shit when you look at it in the grand scheme of things. But for $20 for some people on the other side of the world, it's like the world. You know what I mean? So it's just like when you give it too much thought, you get mesmerized by it. But when you just start doing it, swimming, it's like swimming. When you give too much thought about the water around you, you're like, ah. But when you just start swimming, vibing out, you got some music playing, doing your thing, it's dope. It's easy. It's fun. You know?
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that. I guess I don't know.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah,
I have to pee.
that's a good way to pause it real quick. Yeah,
Action.
It looks so weird on the camera with these on. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't.
The hair might look better, but it just kind of blends in.
Yeah. You just have like a hairdo like that.
It just hides in. It just hides in. Yeah.
That's
I was bald for a while. I loved it. You know what I love it? It's zero responsibility. You wake up, you shower,
exactly,
and you're gone. Like,
and I just have to shave every 3 days, and it stays good.
Yeah. For me, it'd be every other day. I'd have to shave if I wanted to keep it bald, because it just grows back. Well, no beard here, like where I want it. It's all up here on my ass. It's like, all right, we'll take what we can get.
It's very, very liberating. You don't have to go to the barber. You don't have to do this.
I like the barber experience. Like, my barber's hella dope. So I'll come over, I get a laugh. It's like a comedy show. The homie's hella chill. He's Jamaican. Nice. Shout out to my boy. Ratio, you're the man. But he just does a good job, and it's just like it's a different experience, like, because you go to, at least my previous experience, I was always like some aunt, somebody else, whatever. They're just like half-assed, just like you $15, whatever. Like, no, this one was like, nah, I'm gonna do it for 45 minutes. I need this much money for it, so it'd be like $20, $30. But he's out there just, for him, like, this is an art form. Dang. His art is to make me look handsome. Like, how cool is that?
You're like, I'll pay you.
Yeah, like, he's a professional. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you hire a Lyft to get you home. Why wouldn't you hire a good barber to cut your hair?
Exactly.
We can't do makeup.
And in the big scheme of things, it's not even that expensive.
I think like, you'll pay how much you want to pay. You know what I mean? Like, it's expensive or not, that's going to come down to the person budgeting. But like, we can't do makeup. We can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, we can just like stretch, work out, or get a haircut. And getting a haircut's going to do so much more than working out and everything else. Taking a shower and putting on a good, clean, fresh pair of clothes and a haircut will transform you as a human being.
Just putting on some new threads, some new shoes, go out there. If you're in a shitty mood, man, like, put on some good clothes.
Get a haircut. Get a haircut and have a shitty mood, bro.
I can't, bro.
What you mean? You do it every other day, bro. That's why you feel so good.
That's right. That's why I'm never down.
Can't be down. I got no hair to ruin it.
I never have a bad hair day. That's why I never have a bad mood day.
One less problem to worry about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wish I had hair. Like the kind of hair that I had before, but I don't really miss it too much.
Was it receding? Is that what you said?
It started to recede a little bit. Sure. I still have hair. Like,
you're just like, it's not.
I just started to look like, I don't know. It's just on the sides, and I was like, when I shaved it, I was like, shit, this looks good. Yeah. I was like, damn, dude.
I was down in LA with a buddy of mine for a concert, and we're walking by, and there's like a homie that needs to be bald, right? But he's got like his 5 hairs, and they're like combed up into a haircut type of situation. God. And he's like 30, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, he got dealt a bad hand of cards, but like, all he has to do is just say, I am gangster now.
You're not fooling anybody. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, he's like, I will hold on to the 5 years that I have. And I think oftentimes in other spheres of life, we do that. We're just like, I got these 2 things left over in this field, and I'm going to cherish it forever.
You're hanging on to some shit where instead you gotta just go on to the other.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah. You're holding on to the francs or whatever that they had to get a barrel to get a loaf of bread. You got to do is switch over to the euro. You don't even need a whole euro to buy a loaf of bread. You're like, no, the classics, bro, the classics.
No, like, yeah. I mean, in relationships, that's also true. Like,
in every sphere of life, it's true.
Exactly. Like, even going to jobs, like, you could be hanging on to this job. Oh, I got good benefits, everything else. But like you said,
you're sad.
If I just put in a little bit of work, exactly. I could have been already so much further.
So many times we focus on the money that comes with work and all these things, but like, so many people, they're not happy with money. Like, I know if I have more money, I'd be even happier.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can't say that. a lot of people haven't had money and they don't understand how to have money. They will not be happier if they did have money. They'd probably be sadder.
Busy trying to think how they could do everything the cheapest, and they never really live life. And then once you do, then you're like, I like this. I need more money.
I think it's more so like when you figure out how to live life, your money falls into place, your family falls into place, your friends fall into place. Like I had a lot of crappy friends for a very long time, and it wasn't like I was a crappy person. But I was out there putting a vibe on like I'm a crappy person and I need crappy friends, if that makes sense. But like I met real homies throughout the days because everybody does that. Everybody has that sphere.
Did you have to drop them?
Oh, I dropped somebody.
yeah.
Like a hot tamale.
But that's why I keep on loving to meet new friends, because like sometimes a person seems like they're really cool and then they're not. Sometimes you meet a person that like
it's
whatever.
A snake in the garden.
But then or it's the opposite. Like you think whatever, and you get to know the person. They're like really awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
For every like friend that I've dropped, I've probably made 3 new ones.
3 to 10. Oh yeah. And I think it's like, just being open to the experience of loss brings in so much, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
But like when you accept that loss is so common, so common in our lives. Like a river doesn't have the same water in that river.
Like if I could say something, like bring it back to a little bit of what I'm going through, is because for that person, my ex-wife, this is a loss. I don't know if she hates me or whatever, but this is not pleasant for any of us, right? But it's also an opportunity for her to now like really be able to focus on herself.
Sure.
And it sucks. Like whatever. I wish it didn't happen that way, whatever. But now it gives her the opportunity to really just focus, move on stronger.
Yeah.
And be a better person. She might look back on it as maybe like one of the most significant things that ever happened to her in her life.
Yeah, the biggest problem.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, the pain and everything is too big. I'm not gonna be there for that journey. Because certain things, once they happen, I'm like, no.
No, you have to learn to respect yourself. And like for the longest time, I was there for a lot of beatings that I didn't need to be. And when it clicked in my head, and I turned around, and I was like, yo, you do know that I shouldn't be here and you shouldn't treat me like that. And people like it freaks them the hell out. Because then they realize like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be treating somebody else like that. And I just, more maturely, I'll have those conversations. But for the longest time, I would just take the beating and be like, this is my cross to bear, as a lot of people would say. Like,
no.
It's not,
No, just be a cool, dope human being.
I do unto others what you would be done unto you, just literally like,
and also be willing to have the strength to walk away from a bad situation.
Do
everything you can. If it like in marriage, like you should always try to
it's
fight
even before marriage, like in every aspect of it, be true to yourself, be honorable, be good. But most definitely, like I haven't been married, so I can't understand it.
Have an honest conversation with yourself first, and then you could have an honest conversation.
Do I love this person, or do I love how they make me feel?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah, and that's a confusing question because
it's hella confusing.
Like,
that was the problem that I had. I didn't love the person, but I love how they made me feel. Me and her would talk every day. Me and her would text every day. Like my first relationship, I was like 18, bro. Like 18 years old, like 10, 11 years ago. You know what I mean? But I love how she made me feel. I was wanted. I was needed. And
what part of her you didn't like?
She was controlling. She was
hell no.
Like she didn't trust me, but I mean, I was a sexy ass beast, and she couldn't handle it.
That's insecurity, though. Like, man,
but I had a lot of security too. So it's like both of us were dancing the same dance, but we were just like two different tribes and religions doing the same dance.
You like the comfort and the things that she did on one aspect.
I like being liked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she liked being liked as well.
I'm telling you, man.
So much we did for each other because of that.
I recognize I'm just like a sucker for love, dude. I love, being
guys like dogs. Like, I told my mom, I was like, guys like dogs. You pet us, you feed us, we're happy as hell. Women like cats. We don't know what the hell you want.
That's
you
why
pet them,
guys put up with some bullshit because they're like, well, I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
But man, you're
not
so
losing nothing.
Yeah, you're losing so much more by
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, like I always have the conversation where like, hey, we're always going to like until the papers are signed, we're there for each other, right? And I mean, she was wifey for lifey in my phone.
Can I ask you this question? Was it she's trying to leave or you were trying to leave?
There's a couple of things that happened. Basically came to like a
mutual
explosive end.
Okay.
And because of that, up until then, there was a lot of things that were kind of building up towards that.
Sure.
And nothing was being done to mitigate that, even though, I would try this, I would try that. If there's like a lot of anxiety with a person about, really dealing with issues, like I said, there's no way you're going to bring them up to that,
They have to grow.
Yeah, and they have to choose that themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And unfortunately, just that's what doomed us is like, I mean, from her probably perspective, I was pushing maybe too hard.
Sure.
But she wasn't realizing that how...
Well, you were like, I was not even doing nothing.
We're going towards this iceberg so fast. Like, that's why I'm screaming, like,
yo,
Mayday.
Yeah. And I think it's when you don't connect. Like, I think fast. I react fast. I am like 97.9 out of 100, if that makes sense. I'm not 100%. I'm not the fastest person to think, but I react. Yeah, and then other people, they're just more mellow. They're at 75. The tempo is chill. It's classical.
No, I get it, but like when I see
rock.
like something that needs to be taken action of, I'm like, yo, like there's no hesitating. Like, and you have to find a different like language for different people.
Sure.
And everything. And I tried so many different ways, you know, and it was just unfortunate that like you can't.
Some things you can't do. Like
yeah.
They said like I experienced that. And it's fullest. I couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? And I just had to like be humble about it. That you have the luxury of still being able to talk to this person and talk shit or work it out or not work it out, whatever. I don't have the luxury. Like I just got faced with the facts like this person's gone, and it's a very humbling moment, and it's a very like moment where you realize how much, when you realize what you don't have control over, if you just focus on that, you're like, I have no control. But when you realize how much you do have so much control over
yourself,
and
how
over
you
your
react to
response.
things, yeah.
And it's like, if I'm on a path of improvement, like I'm sorry that you're not going the same way that I am, but you're going to get more and more distant from that person because you have like a core of life and growth, and they have like a core of degradation and death. And it's like, you can't go in two places at the same time. Like you can go northeast, but you can't go south-north. You know what I mean? So like when it's just the pendulum swing a little bit, like you can work it out. But when it's like two people trying to do two different things completely at the core of it, and one person's like not even trying to have a conversation about it. Like with my older brother, I can't have any conversation. With my younger brother, I had so many conversations, and my older brother talked about suicide, and the younger brother talked about suicide. But like one of them was joking about it, one of them says he's going to do it. The one that was joking about it is dead now because of it, and the other one's still alive and still joking and still talking about it. And it's like it's like, well, okay, like you get lost because sometimes what you talk about is not what you mean, and sometimes what you talk about is not what you mean at all.
Yeah. And man, dude, is that like I've realized that there's quite a few people that like I know that had that in their family.
Do you want to hear my opinion?
Yeah.
I think suicide is the most common thing out there. I think everybody has thought about it. I think everybody's
because we're sensitive.
Contemplated. It's not about that. I think it's just like existing in this moral body and realizing that one day you're gonna die and that is the end. You're just like, why not shorten it down? Why not have it in season 1? I'm not having fun on this ride. Yeah. I'm not vibing, y'all. I want out. For myself, like I had my battles, but I had other reasons.
In our family, it was just instilled, like you just don't do that. That was like how some Russians see drinking as like the worst thing you could do. Yeah. Well, suicide was the worst thing you could do.
Damn, you guys probably had a lot to talk about that. Yeah, it's but again, I'll come back to it. Like I think everybody has thought about it at least once or twice. How serious and to the degree I'm not going to say it's the same.
If you're not happy, you're trying to find the hatch to escape,
It's saying, I kind of wish I was dead. Is suicide in a fetal position, just like a 2-cell organism, waiting for more fuel and more fuel and more fuel?
That's a habitual thought.
Mm-hmm.
like a thought that you develop into a habit. I never had that habit of thinking like,
have you ever had to quit drugs?
I quit smoking twice.
That's different.
Yeah, it's different.
For me, the hardest thing was blow because of that. Because it was just no serotonin, and it was like the perfect excuse for my depression because I was depressed before I did blow, and then like when I did blow, I felt great.
Yeah, and
it was like a year of doing it and 6 months of doing it day in day out every day, showing up to work, doing it, and I felt freaking great. And then I just didn't feel crap, and I just wanted those after that first high, which after a certain amount of time I didn't even know what the first high felt like. I was chasing a ghost. Yeah. I was out there hunting for Moby Dick.
Oxycontin was like the worst with that because the initial is so amazing, but then like that's why most drugs are like horrible in that way because they're addictive like mentally. And physically, your body adjusts to it, and now you're just doing it because your body's out of whack, and you're just trying to feel normal. You're not even getting that high.
Yeah. For me, I'm glad I separated like the mental from the physical, because like learning to do that, or like I know mentally, that didn't help me. That made me worse because now not only did I have my problems, I had an addiction to deal with. That makes me depressed.
And then when you stop that addiction, it made you even worse than you were before. Yeah.
And it was like the hardest time of my life was like when I was like 4 months into like being clean, not getting clean. I was clean for 4 months, but in my mind I was still getting clean, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Because I didn't kick the mental habit. I lost the physical addiction, but I didn't kick the mental habit.
It's a mental game of trying to quit.
That's what I put in the faith basket. It's a mental game. All the mental crap that you have to do to be dope and great and grow. That's faith. Because you have to believe in what you're going to be doing in order for you to do it. Like for myself, it was never about, I'm going to quit. No, dude, for me, it was like, I'm going to do a week.
What was your experience like with psychedelics?
I loved it. I loved it, man.
It was was that addictive or not?
If it's addictive, you need other help.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like
just kind of like weed as well. Like it's not necessarily addictive.
It's not addictive on a physical level.
On a mental, like where on it's like emotionally. Emotionally, like most people that smoke weed, they could quit and they're fine. They're not like
their mental and emotional state that keeps them addicted.
Exactly. Because I've been there. What you said was like if you're addicted to that, then you need other help because you have an addictive personality.
And I don't think I have an addictive personality, Brand, but I don't have. I think it's like when you look for a solution to something that can't provide the solution, it becomes an addiction.
It inside of you. If you're looking for it outside, you could be addicted to a person that's making you feel good.
Of course. Anything and everything. You know, like for me, like what I loved about blood, like most people try when they're like drunk at a club, at a bar. I was sober like a gopher. Long story short, I do it, and I feel like I have the biggest.
Was it a tab or was it?
You snort it, bro.
Wait, blow. You're talking about blow. I thought you were talking about psychedelics. Okay.
No. Yeah, that was just like I did shrooms, so it was just like mushroom caps and mushrooms and mushrooms and mushrooms.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't show this to the Christian people. Christian people don't watch this.
Okay. So you were home and. Or
it was like friends party, whatever. And I was like, I had some work to get done, and they're like, "Yo, we can't drive right now. Can you drive us?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So I'm like, I'm up grab my 2 phones with me, hop in the car, go drive over there. They're like, "Have you driven before?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I've never done it before." They're like, "Do you want to try it?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to try it." Like my brother's in the hospital due to liver failure, drinking himself to death because his life is so terrible. He's my boss. He's collecting 3 times the amount that I am, doing no work at all, and his life is bad. That's what I'm going through right now. You know what I mean? And, at the time I was like, I wanted to blame so much on my brother. And that's probably what got me addicted because I was like suffering with that. And I didn't want to give that power to my brother. So I decided to do other things to like numb me out. Yeah. And like the first time it wasn't numbing. It was just like, I got 3 hours worth of work done in 45 minutes, man.
Holy crap.
You know what I mean? Wouldn't you do it too?
You got any more, bro? I'm just kidding.
And it was like, it was downhill after that. When I thought it was dope, it was downhill after that. Like I'll still do it from time to time, but it's just like, it doesn't have the same effect on me. It'll like sober me up if I'm on something, but like, it'll bring me back to like, just like numb.
Yeah.
And that's what I was for a long time. I was just
when you start depending on it,
it's a crutch.
It's
a crutch. But if you cut off your legs and put crutches down, like that's why I quit
cigarettes because I couldn't. I was like, dude, when I was younger, like thinking back when I was like 8.
Yeah.
When I was happy, I didn't need something
Cigarettes
to celebrate that.
Yeah.
And then when I was sad, I didn't need something. Like I just got out of it.
You cried.
Now I'm like, I got this, this crutch that I developed for myself, and I'm like, oh, it's a very real crutch.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna quit, because I tried quitting and I was like, oh yeah, you think you're so
you
tough.
realize the meaning of addict. It's one thing to see an addict and be like, that homie's an addict. He's just a person addicted to some chemical.
It's an emotional addiction.
And I think it's also like the ritual of smoking. Like, smoking isn't just smoking. It's a ritual of it. You go outside, you spark it up. That
just any addiction.
But even more so. Like, for example, I don't know about heroin. I never did any of those things. Never shot crap. Never did mess with none of that. But any drug you had to prep for, like weed, you have to break it down. You have to roll it, and half of the addiction is that. It's like that. Going to church type mentality where like you do the ritual.
I quit cigarettes by literally breaking that, like my trigger and what I would get.
Yeah.
It wasn't
a replacement.
Was emotionally got worked up, so I would get a cigarette.
Sure.
Okay. So I was like, oh, emotionally you get wound up, you get this beautiful reward. This
you
cigarette.
Get rewarded.
I was like,
for sucking.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so next time you got that trigger, guess what you're getting rewarded with? You're going in the fridge and you got a big bottle of jug of water, gallon of water, and you chug that shit until you want to throw up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I would do that. And I was like, if I'm still thinking about a cigarette, then I would just drop down right there in the kitchen and start
doing push-ups
until I fall. Okay. And then I'm like, I feel nauseous and I'm exhausted, and I'm just laying there. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. And my body, my mind stopped associating a reward with like that kind of workout.
Negative,
Second time that I quit, I couldn't do that because I was driving trucks, and basically I was trying for like months, and I didn't have that like one like significant just break.
You didn't have the cowboy with the lasso pulling the bulls in.
Yeah, I didn't have like the significant like mental separation from it, you know? And everybody tries, I'll throw my cigarettes out. You know, it's like, dude, you can just buy another one. Yeah. And I was trying for the longest time. And I was going to a friend's party and everybody smoked. And my friend smoked. I was like, you guys can smoke, whatever. And when I drink, I want to smoke.
Of course.
So I'm going to test myself, and you guys are welcome to do what you want to do.
But
I know if I don't smoke this day, because I know you guys, I love you guys, we're gonna have a fun time, but I know if I could not smoke today, then I won't smoke for the rest of my life. And that's what happened. I smoke cigars now. I don't know if that's it's different. It is. Cigarettes is so much worse, like on your mental, emotional state. I'm not addicted to cigars. Like, you're not going to go outside. I'm not like, if I'm worked out, I'm not like, I need to light up a cigar. You know? It's nice at the end of the day, just go have a cigar, sit there. It still has that ritual, but it doesn't have that mental addiction to it.
It's the games that you play, ultimately. Like I keep saying, it's the games that you play with yourself, with the people around you, and society and everything. Like, some societies are more positive, some societies are more negative. Some societies, they play the bad games, and some societies, they play the good games. Like, in some societies, like, the more benefit you bring to everybody, like in capitalism, it works like that. The more money comes into the economy, the more everybody's going to kind of see. But whoever's more diligent is going to keep more of it. Socialism supposedly is going to get trickled down to everybody.
No, but it's just people.
But people get involved, and people are greedy as hell.
Exactly. Like, they're going to be looking out for themselves, not for you.
Hear me out, though. Socialism will work if there's an AI and a robot with a really, really big gun backing that shit up. Other than that, if people are dispersing the wealth, their wealth will not be dispersed.
Exactly.
So that's my view of it.
It's a happy thought to think that someone's going to take care of you.
Yeah, it's better to have a free for all than we'll give it to you from the top.
Once you realize that the world does not give a fuck and nobody's coming to save you, life actually becomes beautiful.
Yeah. It becomes so dangerous. But when you're in danger,
dangerous but exciting.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like I'm telling you, at a certain point, I just realized that I need to make a big decision, and I was gonna ask this person to help me, this, that, whatever. I was like, no. Ultimately, guess what? I'm a grown ass man. This was earlier on when I was in my early 20s. I was like, I have to actually make this decision myself. And that's scary, but also liberating at the same time because I'm like, hey, now I could actually think about like what's really important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really, I think.
And if it goes to hell, then I could learn from it. But if the other person chose for me, then it's like, just be mad at them. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's when you take responsibility for yourself. Gary Vee really pointed that out. He's an Instagram homie, but he really pointed that out, and he would drop that, and he would drop that. But until like it clicked, I heard it, but until it clicked, like you are responsible.
Until it was like here in your heart.
When I realized that he was right, you know.
Yeah.
When I realized that he was right, that like I would rather.
What the positives of that is, because people only see the negatives or like the scary of that.
I think the beauty of it, me being like. You know, there's a glass and half empty, glass half full. I'm just happy to have a glass to begin with, right?
Yeah.
That's my mentality to begin with. Like, dog, we got a glass and we can put some shit in it. We can fill it to them. We can finesse this. It's all good. But like when you realize that it's your glass and you decide who pours the Kool-Aid into it, you get to control what you drink.
Yeah.
But like up until that moment when you realize that it is your glass and you're the one who decides who pours their Kool-Aid into it. Anybody can pour their Kool-Aid into it.
You're focusing on the wrong crap.
You're playing the game completely wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just you got it all ass backwards. You think like you're gonna put in like one episode and get 10 episodes worth of stuff, or back and forth, and you're just so lost and you don't even know where to begin with. But like when you realize,
and then adjust and do again and then adjust, and that's
yeah. It's better to play something 100 times because on the first try you'll suck. On the 100th time you better be a little bit better. Statistically speaking, you should be a little bit better.
Well, that's why you have to always like constantly reevaluate what you're doing so you could adjust, and like life becomes easier if you're trying to learn lessons that are naturally just happening.
When you're just dancing, just enjoying it. Like when you're up on stage and doing something, when you're not enjoying it and you're just too focused on presentation, you're not enjoying it. If your role requires you to enjoy it, like I did some skit stuff back in my church and stuff. So it was like when you want to like portray that message over, you have to be that message, if that makes sense. Like when I played the devil character, I had to be the devil character, and that kind of helped me to cope with my stuff, to be able to like to box it up and say like I was a devil for 10 minutes or I was that for the 10 minutes. Like, but you get to live out a life that's other than yours and see it from a different perspective that you never thought you would, you know? Because so many people are so tied down to their perspective and like, this has to be the only view of life. It's like, no, man, there's 7 billion other people viewing life completely different from you. And you like 3 brothers in my house and 1 sister. All 4 of us see the world completely different, but so similar at the same time. And you think like when you're 99.9% different, you can't be 99.9% the same, but that's the beauty of it. The math doesn't make sense in life because it's so like complex and there's so different layers.
Our family has such a variety of different views on life and how they
interact with the world.
Yeah. It's like we might as well be not even related. 11 kids, all so different.
Yeah. No, I think it's like I'm on a smaller scale, so I have a smaller sample group, if you will. So I know
you're realizing that too, though.
I think it's like when you overthink it, you lose it. But when you underthink it, you won't even think about it. Here's another thing that
you should consider, and knowing that just because one person in your family is like this or one person is like that, doesn't mean that like you're doomed to be this way or that way.
I lost that a long time ago.
Yeah, because it's like, bro, like it's the choices that we continually make over and over and
when
over
you take
again
responsibility
in your mind
for yourself, it completely
you're dooming yourself towards an amazing future. If you make those right choices. You get what I'm saying, right?
Exactly. Like if you use even your facilities of your home, you use the kitchen for cooking, the restroom for the restroom breaks, and so on and so forth, you're going to have such a more comfortable life. But if you shit on the couch, you got it all wrong. And then don't be mad that your kitchen stinks because you shit on the couch. But you open the window in your bedroom. And oftentimes that's what we do to like fix the problems. Because we're like, it smells in that room.
You're not solving the core problem. You're just putting a Band-Aid over.
You don't even want to admit that you shit on the couch.
Exactly. Emotions. Like, I'm just not going to think about it.
But
then it pops up, you know?
I think it's always there. You just allow it to pop up, if that makes sense. Like, so many times I'm like,
deal with your shit.
Yeah.
Deal with your emotions. Yeah.
And that's what psychedelics kind of like helped me with, because it was just like, oftentimes I was like so scared to even try and hop in and think about it and talk about it, whatever. But it was just like, oh yeah, like imagine playing the most messed up Mario game ever, and I'm the referee and I'm the player. Like, and I knew that it was me on me action the whole time, and I'm just like, I'm like, damn, this opponent's pretty good. Damn, he got me pretty good. And I was like, what's funny is both of them hurt. The attacker and the defender.
So you were seeing it from all perspectives, and you were seeing like the whole world from different perspectives.
I wasn't say that. I would say everything that I could have experienced in a different Ross, in all forms of Ross. It's like if Ross was a Muslim, not really, but for example, if Ross was a Muslim in Israel, like I looked at everything that I thought about, and I was just like, what would make me different if I was like born Jewish or Mexican or black or whatever? Like, what would make my life different? What would make my life the same? What would be different? What would be the same? And it was just like thinking about scenarios and thinking about, because you're like so lost in your head, and everything that you don't want to think about gets dropped upon you. And I can't say that.
Yeah, but at the same time, without it being so traumatic.
When you take it so personally, it becomes traumatic. Like, like you got to remember that I just came in from a coke addiction, being clean for about a year to 2 years, being depressed, experiencing my demons, knowing how bad I can get. Because
what made you think like, hey, I should try this?
It was just like, why not?
You're like, well, I know I don't like coke. I'm just gonna try this.
I knew I loved coke too much. I knew what that chemical did to my brain.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was not in a good place, and I knew that I wasn't growing. I knew that I was like,
it was slowly destroying you.
No, I was clean at that point.
No, I know.
Yeah, but it was like, it's more so like I realized what one chemical could do to a human body.
So then you were just like, all right,
let's try these other chemicals, which some people say have a positive effect, some people have a negative effect, and it was ultimately like, I knew how bad I can get when I did blow. It was like, one day I realized,
and you're like, well, I'll probably stop myself before it gets that way.
No, it wasn't even about that. Like one day I was like I'm just, I didn't quit blow for the money for that. Like most people, like I ran out of money, I got caught. No, I had everything figured
you just hated how
the hell out.
Yeah,
I hated who I became.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it was. One day I realized, like, I'm kind of an asshole, narcissist piece of shit today. And for the last 6 months, I've been like that. But today I realized it.
Most people, when they're on psychedelics, it's the opposite.
No, this was blow.
I'm saying but that, like when you started to do psychedelics,
it throws you in the other way. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I think it was blow first, then Molly, and then psychedelics.
Okay.
And I don't know if you heard what SAS is or no.
No, I've heard, but like, what is
sassafras? It's derived. It's similar to MDMA, very similar chemical structure, also an amphetamine, but it creates hallucinations. Uh-huh. So like you'll drop 1 point. So like a point is 0.1 gram. So like Molly, you just want to dance and love everybody to death and back. Yeah. When you drop SAS, you kind of love everybody to death and back, but the liar is kind of fuzzy. But when you take in a substantial amounts, you actually see full on hallucinations that are like, in my mind, trippier than acid, trippier than shrooms, trippier than everything, because it's so intense, so vivid, so real.
Yeah.
But then like gone in an instant. Like I had a city form in front of me as I'm trying to pee outside.
What the hell?
Like, I'm trying to pee outside like hella hard. It's like 2 a.m. There's a party going on inside, and I'm like, I see like New York City just like Transformer fashion like unfolded in front of me. You know what the first thought in my head came? Shut the hell up. We're outside and it's late. I'm telling the city, shut the hell up. Because I'm on a different level at that point. And it was like, looking back at it, I was like, damn, I was in a lot of hurt at that time to consume this much quantity of this substance to make me, like most of my friends haven't experienced it. They definitely say it's sick. You feel hella good. I'm like, did you trip out though? Like, hell no. What? And then other people would do like 1 point of something, they tripped out and they got them all worked up. I did like 4, 5, 6 points. Like I never took it lightly. My body's resistant to everything. Like from day one, I had to take more than other people to feel something. Like, oh yeah, it's hitting. You know what I mean? Other people are just like, are you okay? I'm like, I can kind of feel it. Does it make it ringing in your ears? No, oh, that's something else then. But that's how I was. Like on everything. Just boom, boom, boom. Whatever I tried, it didn't really hit. So I was just like, all right, let's turn it up to 11. Like whatever my limit was mentally, I would have to push it.
What the hell is sassafras though? Is it
Sassafras is a tree.
It's a tree.
Okay. They make originally the root beer drinks were made out of sassafras root. So they're all East Coast, Canada, and a couple. There's another tree. I don't know if it's the same one, but that they could make it out of the roots and the bark. So they basically take it, they synthesize whatever chemical.
You know, people love getting high, man. Like they found so many things to alter their states.
We've been around for thousands of years, quote unquote. You know, I'm going to interrupt and put this on pause, but people argue like the whole concept of time, like the world is either billions of years old or 6,000 years old, right? Mm-hmm. The trippy part is it could be both, and we wouldn't even know it. Because if a homie can speak the whole world into existence just by saying, let there be light, like Siri, hey Siri, let there be light. You know what I mean? He can make time flow in a different fashion, in a different form. And it's just like, to me, like the whole hour.
Well, you know, in the universe, like out there in the galaxy, the time is not constant.
Yeah. We're assholes because we think it revolves around us. Time does not give a shit. The world does not give a shit. This cat doesn't give a shit. This is nature.
Guy, always.
You know what I mean? He's in the vibe with nature. Nature does not give a shit. Nature does nature things, you know? A cat does cat things. We do our things. Like, it's so, like, proud and arrogant of us to think that we can do something different from our nature. So why not change our nature? Why not become different in a nature, like in our natural state? You know what I mean? Like when I'm at church, I'm one person. When I'm here in the podcast, I'm a different person. When I go somewhere else, I'm a different person. But like, why not change who I am in every moment to then alter all those 20 characters versus like, oh, I gotta alter like 10 different characters. And we wear different characters when we go to different places. You go to Chick-fil-A, you can wear one suit. You go to church, you go to a different suit. If you go to an Elephant Bar, you go to a different suit. Like, it's not about the place or whatever. Like, we want to blame it on the church or this or that. We play the same bullshit rules no matter where we go, no matter what we do. Yeah, society is society.
Yeah,
it's a group game
that you got to work on.
It's a co-op. Yeah. It's a co-op game. Everybody's playing the same game. If you're not, then you're not going to play the game right. Like, imagine you're playing soccer, some homie just grabs the ball, starts running like football. You're like, yo, dog, I'm not vibing with this, man. Like, what's going on? Like, and that's how it all is, you know? I mean, like, it's just like, there's certain rules you follow, there's certain rules you don't follow. There's certain rules that are to this place, there's certain rules to that place, you know? But when you change yourself,
did you have like a significant breakthrough in that kind of thought process when you started to do psychedelics? Yeah.
Yeah and no. It was like, at first it was like so many different breakthroughs because I was able to like, a lot of people, they just like attack it and they don't attack it and they love it and they hate it. For me, I was just like, I don't know what the hell this is, but I was like at the bottom of a swamp. That was weird. It was kind of cool though. kind of like trying to see the more of it. Like my first trip ever was.
How much did you take?
I took 2/8 on my first trip. So 7 grams. A little bit less. It was like probably 5.
I'm not sure. Like, yeah. So a good amount.
A little baggie of shrooms.
All at once?
Over the course of like 2 hours.
Oh, gotcha.
2 to 3 hours. What's funny was like, even if I took them all at once, I probably would have liked it better than because I extended it. Because it was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I'm gonna try a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, you need a lot to feel something.
My body is different, you know, and God bless it. Like, look, bro, like I haven't worked out in months. Like, I'm blessed with that. You know what I mean? Like, I used to take it for granted. I'd be like, oh man, kind of look funny, you know, if I had a different note. But I was like, dude, God bless it. Like, I'm so glad I'm in my body. Imagine like having a homie named Keith. Or Tyler, no hate to Keith or Tyler, like, but I'm pretty sure Keith and Tyler, like, imagine being a Ross this lot, like, that's just disrespectful.
so, because you like, you have a lot of good realizations, and I'm just thinking, like, was it just like because of?
It's what I sought. It's what I sought after. When people would do it with like the question of just like, what will this do to me? My question was, what can I do to myself on this? Because everything that I've tried before that hand, I realized like I am in the cockpit, but I have laser guns and blaster rifles, and I'm in like this crazy spaceship type crap, and I'm feeling like I'm God on this earth type crap. And I knew that I'm playing a game with myself against myself versus myself. I'm on the left, I'm on the right.
You're all realizing this while you're on it.
Yeah. Like I was sitting in the woods, we were hiking with a friend of mine. We walked like 3-4 miles probably back and forth. Probably, I think it was like 2.5 one way, 2.5 back. We left at like 8 p.m. so the sun was setting. It was like we sat there and then we came back at midnight back to the car, and I'm over there like, where the wolves at? Like, we're not, like, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there and I'm like realizing like we're on a giant Pokeball just yeeted through space, flying around a fireball, spinning around probably a black hole at the center of all this crap, next to billions and billions and billions and billions of other things flying around. And I'm like, we're gonna die. And then I realized, like, yeah, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. But like at the same time, like if we were able to build cities and skyscrapers and all these other things, like the probability of us getting hit tomorrow is low. You know, the day after, like it's inevitable.
Yeah, so why worry about it? Yeah.
And it's like, what am I going to do to stop it? And I realized, like, it's not my place to worry about it. It's not my responsibility. And I was like, excited. Like, the journey kind of started with other things, but it was like all at once. Like, I realized where my responsibility is, where my responsibility isn't. Like, I'm going to answer for my sins, you know? So whoever judges me, that's dope. You have one more sin to answer for because you decided that this avatar is worse than me or better than me because of this or that. Like, I don't want to do that. I got so much going on right now that I can't be worried about where your soul goes. You should. If you need help, talk to me. But I'm not going to...
You know, they're starting to use psychedelics to treat like PTSD and all these other...
I'm glad.
Like,
I'm
therapy
so glad.
And all that. Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad that there's...
People that have crippling anxiety about certain things. Like, like they'll, after one session, it's like...
Have you tried microdosing or not?
I will... not say what I did or not.
You haven't tried microdosing. That's right. But anyway, so microdosing it's like when you trip out and you do all this, like it's one experience. It's like having an army. But when you microdose, it's like having a diplomat because you don't really feel different, but you feel different. And then when you build a certain tolerance to it and you're thinking like, oh, I'm immune to it, this, that.
Half of Silicon Valley microdoses because it, unlike blow or any of these other drugs, it continues to have an effect even if you use it a lot. But you're not addicted to it. Like
it's not even that. The way, do you know how
I watched the 18-minute episode on Netflix on psychedelics, and over there basically
how much research I did was like 40 to 80 hours of reading and reading.
Before you started it or after you?
Well, I was on it, bro. Yeah. Like, I wanted to understand
what the hell's going on.
What feeling this meant.
Yeah.
Like, this is the chemical structure. I'll draw it, whatever. But what that means to me.
What it actually does is, like, literally, like, the best way that I was able to understand is you have a certain pathways neurally in your brain, right? And it's almost like a little...
Do you know what serotonin is?
Yes. So, but hold on. Let me explain something. And so after a while, that little creek becomes a river, and it goes deeper and deeper. And before you know it, you're like in the Grand Canyon. Yeah. And that's how your habits basically formed you into the person that you are now.
Sure.
And what psychedelics do is they bring you out of Grand Canyon and tell you, hey, you could look at it this way, you could look at it that way. So, like, your brain activity is so much, like, they actually put people under MRI. A person that's not on psychedelics, their brain activity is like, like normal.
Sure.
A person that's on psychedelics, like, everything's just firing. Like, the brain is just, like, on a different level. Of course. But without, like, that coke hyperness and darkness and things like that,
Well, I think Coke, what's the scariest part is Coke brings you into the light because it just gives you like this big dick energy about you. You know what I mean? Like it hits the serotonin receptors and it's just like, you know what I mean? Like your serotonin receptors are usually just like, hey, what's up? Let's just like, this homie just comes in and just fucks it in the mouth. Like full on, just heavy thumping for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that's what, you know, that's the way I could explain it. Yeah. But so psilocybin, on the other hand, it lands into the same receptor, but the shape of it has like this extra arm that goes off to the side. And where it connects afterwards, because It goes up.
Oh,
It reroutes the electricity in your brain. So imagine like
it allows new neural pathways.
It doesn't allow for it. It forces it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like imagine you have
it's like you got
the circuits in the wall, right?
You got this extra arm, and you're gonna attach yourself to something.
Well, the easiest way I understood it is like circuits are circuits. Like your brain is a circuit with chemicals and all this other magical shit going on. But eventually, there's very low voltage hidden some part of your brain that's bringing up this idea, this memory, this whatever. Like it's a very interesting chemical computer with like a biosystem installed, right? So same thing with the circuitry in your house. You got wires going up and down and stuff like that, right? Now imagine somebody comes in, cuts the main power, right? Brings it in through a different outlet and then just starts running the circuits from there. Yeah. And that's what like tripping out does. And that's why you feel so weird, because like you're looking at a grape, but you're looking at like, what the hell is that shit? I know it's a grape, but what the hell? A friend of mine
told me, like the first time he ever did it, it was in nature, and he literally had a conversation with the tree because he realized this tree's probably been standing here for like thousands of years. Nobody's even acknowledged it. So he was like, man, I appreciate the fact that you're here. And then you're providing this shade and everything.
You are shady, homie, but I love you, dog. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, for me, it was like, I see like the first trip was little, like seeing some rocks change colors and this and that. But afterwards, it was like, I realized what it could do to me. And I realized like the feeling that I got, the conversations that I was able to have. And I realized like how powerful this tool is when used in a constructive, beneficial way. Yeah. But how destructive this tool is when used in a negative, derogatory, destructive
way. So why'd you stop? Or did you got your...
I can't say that I stopped. I just haven't done it for a while, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There's
like no breaking point. There's no like...
Some people have it, some people don't. Like where I'm at right now...
That's what I hear about that. It's like, it's almost like it pushes you away. Or like it's not like necessarily pushes you away, but it's like...
I'll describe it differently. You learn the lessons that you can learn on it. And then you have to...
and then
you have to let it. You have to let it down, like a physics book. You'll read it end to end 20 times back to back. You'll learn this much, but you set that book down and you come back in a year or two because subconsciously you knew that all along. You've been
Yeah, it's almost like you don't want to be plugged into the matrix all the time because you want to have some time to.
Yeah. Do you want to be drunk all the time?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Not me neither. Once in a while, it's fun.
Some people. So like, there's alcoholics.
I feel bad for them. Like honestly, I genuinely feel bad for them.
Having addictive personality.
That's all it is to it. And it's just like when you everything comes in a cycle. You'll have a cycle of good, a cycle of bad. Sometimes it comes in swirls where like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. Good. Usually it's like that. Yeah. But like when you're tripping and you basically just the easiest way to describe it is learning to live life in third person, if that makes sense. We're like, you no longer see like, first person. I got the hands like, bam, bam, like, it's a first person shooter.
To figure out how to look
behind,
at
like GTA.
Themselves from an outside perspective. I learned that when I was much younger. Instead of like being in my head and thinking about like, oh, what did that person say? I was like, what did I do? Like, look at myself in that situation. What could I have done different?
Yeah, but it's one thing to do that and think that, but it's a whole different thing to like almost experience it. I can't say experience it. Almost experience it.
Yeah.
Like shrooms hits you one way. I did acid, I did DMT, and like the trippiest thing was DMT, because like shrooms hit hard, acid hits harder, DMT hits absolutely like substantially harder. And you know what the trippiest part about it? Like I was like on this trip and I was like, I gotta do my DMT trip. I gotta take back this massive lesson because I've learned this much from acid, I learned this much from shrooms, I learned this much from Molly, I learned this much from coke. The things I'm gonna learn from DMT. You know what I ever learned? It was like just awe-striking moment. I realized sometimes you don't trip, sometimes you learn low lesson, but you still gotta put in the work and grind it the hell out and get your ass to damn work, because shit ain't gonna happen by itself. There's no magic involved.
Oh, you know what I mean? DMT basically.
No, that's my experience. Some people have like completely different experiences.
No, I'm saying like basically it was almost like. You never saw it from this perspective.
Yeah. It was
like all these things that you're doing.
Yeah. The thing that I'm chasing after.
In the work.
Things that I'm chasing after. Is that really what I'm after, or do I want to be better?
Dang. Yeah. And most people, when they do DMT, they have like these profound,
like you saw
life altering. No. But like lessons that they learned.
Just the thing is, like, the visuals on DMT just hit so much harder than anything else. Because, like, you'll do acid and it'll come and it'll go and it'll come in waves. Like, you trip 10 to 15 minutes on DMT. The physical visualization, but it's just like you see designs, patterns, like so heavy that, like, I did ACE, I don't remember, like, I just did it, you know what I mean? Like, I had a zip bag and I was just never done. There's like, if I'm not tripping balls and like weirded the hell out, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's whatever. and I think it was honestly like learning to, like, shrooms helped me to master my emotions. Like, I was very angry. I was very anxious. I was very, like, I didn't know how to hurt. I didn't know how to, like, put a stop onto it and say, this is what 20 is. I was very extreme. I was just extreme. Nah.
No, it evened you out.
Nah. It allowed me to push my limits in a healthy way. That's what I loved about it. Like, weed leveled me out. You smoke weed, you level it. Like, bro, it's not that bad, man. It's chill. That's good. You know, but this is like, no, you hurt when you hurt. Especially like acid, bro. Like, when you feel emotions, you feel it to the core. Like, I got hella mad because somebody said, oh, your hair looks hella dope. It must be hella easy to, like, maintain it. And I was like, bitch, no, I gotta shampoo it, condition it. And I was like,
wait, while you were on mushrooms?
No, acid. I was like, I did 2 gel tabs, and I was like, but then the next day I was like so happy to see the guy. I couldn't tell him that I was crying because I was so happy to see him. I was like, emotions hit hard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And it was like mixed vibes the whole time. And I had a moment where, like, I tripped out for 3 days. I showed up to work tripping. I had cop sirens for 72 hours. And the person who, like, invited me to the house and said, yo, come do this with me. They're like, after like taking 2 gels, I did 6 or 7. I don't remember. Like, it doesn't matter. But I did like 700 to 800%, you know, like way more. And it's like, it's not about it. Like, the drinks come in like quantities. Like, LSD, shrooms, and psychedelics, they don't come in quantity. Sometimes you take a little and it's more potent than a lot because it's you playing a game on you. And, like, depending on how crazy you are, quote unquote, I'm crazy as hell sometimes. And some people, they're like, hate that word. I'm like, I'm proud of it. I'm proud I'm crazy. Crazy me has helped me to get over crazy shit. And life is freaking crazy and there's lots of crazy shit. And I'm cool with it. Like, I'm proud of it. You got a problem with it? Write me a letter. I'll write back. I'll try to be nice. But it just allowed me to, like, overcome all that. And I'm over there, like, sitting, and she's like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm sitting there like, bleeding.
Who's?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, no. I'm saying, so you were doing it with a person.
With the person, yeah. That person's like, I'm not vibing no more. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. This and that. When's it going to be over? I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, bitch, I never wanted to do this shit to begin with. Like, I didn't want to be here to begin with. Like,
yeah, this person's having a bad trip.
Yeah, and I'm like, and it's not about that. It was like, it was just a messed up moment. Me giving into other people's bull crap that I shouldn't have. Me not respecting myself. And I'm sitting there like tripping balls and understanding, like, I'm here not vibing, but I'm not going to kill their vibe that's already killed. And they're low-key killing my vibe. And I was like, what do I do to fix this? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, when you're tripping balls, everything's an opportunity. Like, you just put the pillow over their head and just 15 minutes later, it's all good and clean. But then, like, it's doing too much. I'm not trying to get up and do all that shit. I'm like, well, how do I really fix this problem that it never really happens to me again? And I was like, if I start respecting myself and hang out with people that respect me as well, I'm going to be in a good place. If I learn to love myself and hang out with people that also love me, and both of us loving each other is going to help us grow, like, I will not have to deal with this kind of crap. Because there was like a person that doesn't like themselves, that's been doing bullshit or whatever, and like not vibing with, like, when you
realize that, like, hey, I put myself into the situation, now I can't really fix it, and it's like, now I can just make better choices.
As I'm thinking all that, at the same time, like, that's the conscious brain, but this conscious brain is like imagine the AI in your head, that gut feeling, it's just a whisper in your ear. You know what I mean? But, like, it's brutally honest. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm just like, this person, like, in my ear, this person doesn't like themselves at all. This person hates themselves. Yeah. That's why they're not vibing. Like,
and all of that is being brought up to the surface. Yeah. Like, I don't like this.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what psychedelics is it, like, it tears you from, like, the kiddie corner and throws you into, like, tears you out of the kiddie pool and throws you in the ocean. And then you realize that ocean is you. Yeah. So it's like you on you action. So like, do you kill yourself with sharks, or do you like have dolphins
And those
swim up to you?
people that grew up constantly suppressing their emotions and all that, instead of like I said, when I was younger, I realized I had to look outside of myself. I had to observe everything, like just not from my own perspective. I was almost like tripping balls
when you kill your ego. Ultimately, like,
and that's what psychedelics, I know,
and people do it differently. You know, I mean, like some people do it through religions. For myself, it was psychedelics. For myself, it was substances, and learning to master the chemical disbalance in my head.
Your ego basically dissolves because you're not looking at it from your own perspective. You're looking at it from everybody else's.
And also, like that was one thing that I learned, like on the feeling side of it. But I also learned the power of chemistry in your body on like the physical side of it, because I felt things that I was like, yo, how the hell do I even feel this? Like I was looking at a wall, like when I was tripping on LSD. So I was like, you look at a wall, but you don't feel like you see the wall like face to face. Imagine like looking at the wall, but like from a 45-degree angle, and try to understand that. If you can understand that, you can understand tripping. So you don't understand it. You give up on trying to understand it. You're just like, what the hell's going on? This is trippy balls, man. And it's like when you realize, like, when the cement in the walls and the carpet and everything is like in its raw form, where you just like, you're playing the character of designing everything in your head. Because ultimately, like when you tear everything off, you see who you are. You understand who you are and where you're at, and you understand how much you hate yourself and how much you love yourself. You understand the things that you did wrong and the things you did right. You look at yourself from like a different point of view, and ultimately, I think that's what the killing of the ego. And there's so much more to it if you allow it to be there. There's so much more to it if you go after it. Like for myself, it was like I didn't go to a trip just to like, I hate my life, I want to like see what's up. No, I was like, I don't like where I'm at. I really,
the intention is very important.
It's most definitely. Like when you wake up in the morning, whether you have got the alarm snoozed or not, that intention. Do you actually want to wake up this morning? Or do you just wish you died last night, but you're alive?
Dude,
you know?
Like the quote, like Steve Jobs said, the most significant thing that ever happened to me in my life was psychedelics.
I can imagine.
Because it made him look at the world from a different perspective, and it changed his life. It's like that transformative thing that people talk about in church with God or whatever. Take some shrooms, man. You'll see God.
You know, for myself, it wasn't like I didn't see God in any of it at all until I saw God in all of it at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like when I didn't look for God, I didn't find him anywhere. Like, he was nowhere to be found. He was not in the book. He was not at church. Like I showed up, he wasn't there. But when I realized, like, that's not how you find God. You find God in here. You have to have him live in you and then broadcast it out. Like Christianity is not, you follow 10 rules and then the other rules. And then, no, like if you're not born again, Jesus said to Nicodemus, we're like, you are a different being from before. Like you leave into it one way and you come out the other way.
You have to live like
for a different purpose.
Life
for a different purpose.
Exactly. You can't be like a badass person's not walking around screaming in everybody's face. I'm a badass, you know? Like, hey, you guys, I'm so cool. It's like you just know.
Yeah.
And it's like it even says in the Bible, you know, like if a person will know that you're my people by the way that you
love each other.
Exactly.
You love each other. Like there's so much of the love lacking. There's so much judgment. There's so much hate. And I think that's why a lot of people, they hate religion. They hate Christianity. They hate that, because there's a lot of hate involved. And they say like, you won't hate somebody else unless you hate yourself. You just broadcast that on somebody else. You attach your face onto somebody like how I learned to love other people is when I learned to love myself. When I realized like, Ross doesn't want this done to him, so Surj doesn't want that done to him. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain variations of it. You might like
anger's the same way. You're only going to get angry at people if you have that anger inside of you. Yeah, because like you feel that pain, and like it's almost like it just comes out and wants to hit somebody.
What else can you do when that's all you know?
Yeah.
You know all this, that, but you don't believe it. That's why faith is so important. Like what you believe in, you will act out. You know, like if you believe in one form and another, and I don't care if you believe in religion or hate
That's
religion.
why it takes a lot of inner work to change your beliefs about yourself, about the world and everything, not sweeping it under the rug and thinking that it's just going to grow into a beautiful
You ever
tree
grown a garden?
No.
Bro, I had to help my dad grow a garden. I haven't grown one myself, but dude, it requires a lot of work. You gotta dig shit up. You gotta plant other shit. You gotta like do this, that, cut that, but not that. There's so much intricate bullshit involved to just growing a tomato bush. So it's easier to grow 5. Just grow 5. 1 out of 5 is gonna be the difference. And that's why we get big fields and statistics and all this other crap. But like, if you don't put in the work, how can you expect the result? You know, like, how can you catch a fish at home on the couch?
Well, I know how those people think. They just think with time, it's going to get better. Have you seen a garden get better over time? No, just weeds grow and it becomes shittier.
Yeah. I've changed my perspective on it, and it gets beautiful, but doesn't make it a better garden. It's a nice wilderness.
And people have a lot of weeds in their freaking brains.
Yeah, and I think we give up these little things. You know, we think like if we blow down the towers in our mind, the weeds will go away. But it's the opposite. When we tear out the little weeds in our mind, the towers will go away. You know, and we start at these big things that are impossible because we just like, we know that we won't do them. We're just going to talk shit about them. But like when you start digging it up little by little by little by little, you'll see how much you can get done in a short amount of time. Like 1 year of you working on yourself is amazing. Now imagine 10 years. Like I'm almost 29, hitting 28 in August. Imagine if I did 28 years of like just me in last year, the growth, the experience. Like if I had that from day one, bro, I would be like, you know what I mean? Like I'd be Buddha. Exactly. I wouldn't need God. If that makes sense, you know. But that's why
that's what we're all striving for, is to be in the world but not be affected by it, you know, and be almost like a person that's able to control their own reality and all that. Like the Bible tries to teach you that, but you know, there's self-help books, there's a lot of methods, but the thing is to put in the work. It's not going to change by itself.
Sure. Of course. My advice to it is like bring it all in. Learn about everything.
Exactly.
You know, bring it all in. Like
the broader fish net that you could have, the better.
Yeah.
Because something will stick.
Well, hear me out. Like even more for myself, like I'm very biased towards Christianity because I grew up in a Christian home and everything. But like the more I try to like look for other solutions, the more I understood like what I was taught. Could have helped me the whole time, but I was like not happy with it.
You didn't have the broader perspective to understand what you were looking at. You were so zoomed in that you didn't understand it.
Exactly. You know, I was like, well, there's nothing but scales on this fish. But like, if I was to put the fish down and start dissecting it, I would have had some fillets and this, that. Like, but like, you know, so many other things. You bring it so close to yourself. You make it so personal. You can't see anything else. And how can you see anything else? Like, I've had to tell my parents, I'm like, guys, we are as messed up as we are. We're hurting, all of us. Why do you think I forgive you for all the bull crap and pain that you're causing me? And the worst part is you don't even know that you're causing me pain. You don't even care that you're causing me pain. You're out here teaching me the gospel. The shit that your grandma taught you. And that's dope. That's beautiful.
They're just repeating what they heard.
And not just that. That's what they know. They believe it. And it's true, so true to them that they cannot understand a different way. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't want to break their canoe and say, you guys are in the water. You know what I mean? I'm just like, guys, leave me be.
Exactly.
You know, let me
live and let me
be in my canoe. You know, like there's certain things you're responsible for, but there's certain things you have to let go of. You're not responsible for that.
If more people could learn that, is just to let other people do what they got to do. Yeah. And truthfully, like live that way. And try to help them out instead of like saying, "Oh, no, I know what you got to do," or this or whatever. Yeah. Man, it just, life would be a lot more simpler. Dude. A lot more beautiful. And like,
if I knew what I needed to do, I would be in such a tremendously powerful place. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not in a bad spot, if that makes sense, because I am open to the fact that I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, which is okay. Like
it's not okay. It's step one.
Yeah, knowing that
one.
you need to figure something out.
Yeah, knowing that you don't know is
Exactly.
step one.
And you will never ultimately know everything, but you got to start on that journey.
Of course. I think if you pursue after knowing everything, you'll get lost and you'll miss it. Because you're answering the questions that don't need to be even asked. So many people, they look for happiness in such a crazy ass place where it's right next to you. It's petting a cat. It's watering a plant. It's having a family.
Yeah.
It's just living out, doing your thing. Like how I am at and where I'm at. Like my brother he knew what he wanted. And he wanted everybody else to know that this is the easiest solution to that. That is the easiest solution to that. And it didn't make sense to him because he was very mathematical. We're like, this is the shortest path to get to work. Why would you not take it? Like, well, there's a Starbucks right there, bro. They have to swing by Starbucks, get 2 venti, whatever. And to him, it would like, are you guys freaking mad?
I would never do that.
Neanderthals, a lot of them. Like, you know what I mean? But for myself, it's like, I knew this was like a ritualistic dance, and like I hung out with people more, and I understood that like some people need their bullcrap to be good, because I needed my bullcrap to be good. I needed some distraction to keep me going for a long time there. But when I realized like you don't need distractions, you just need to focus on this, that. But it's still like the whole time it's a journey.
Yeah. Focus on yourself. Focus on your journey. Don't focus on another person. Their little canoe, whatever. Yeah.
If you could sit in the canoe and vibe out together, row down the river,
it's still a lesson for me that I constantly need to kind of reevaluate, because you learn a lot of great lessons on your journey, and you're like, man,
if I would have known this earlier.
And you tell people, and they're like, well, they're not really on that journey. They're like, they don't care. They could give 2 shits about it.
They'll experience it in 10 years, or they experienced it 10 years ago. That's that thing is like, we're going to learn the same.
I think the only difference is that's why marriage is tricky, because when it's affecting you and you're trying to explain to that person that this is a big iceberg that we're heading down and you're heading down, then it's like, hey, do you just let that person be on their little canoe? Yeah. Because you guys are in this boat together. Yeah. And it's like a person has their own timeline of when they learn those lessons. But, man, I think that's why it's so important to just find that person that's already kind of like in that journey. On the same
in a canoe
way.
In a canoe.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes people sitting on the beach trying to get a suntan, you're like, yo, hop in this canoe with me. Like, that seems dope. And then they hop in.
Like, no, they just don't know. Hop in. We'll go to some cool place. And they're like, no.
I'm not vibing. I'm not vibing, dog. I'm trying to tan. And you're like,
I was just trying to enjoy this tan, man. I don't want to think about things.
Yeah. And then I met so many people, but then they're like, you're crazy for doing this and like swimming canoe type shit. Like, no, bitch, if you're not vibing, get the hell off the boat. Yeah. Like, this is my journey. If you're not vibing with this, go live your life.
We're all our own type of crazy, but I'd rather be the type of crazy that has his shit figured out, is nice to other people, nice to himself, all that. Like, dude, I love that kind of crazy, man. Like, that's
crazy good.
Yeah, crazy good.
So, I think if you come in with love to begin with, like, just in the Bible it teaches God is love, and I think all form of good, healthy relationship comes in with the relationship of love. Like, if you learn to love yourself, you can love other people, and you can really love other people. You can't just, oh yeah, I love people, man, with barbecue sauce, with Chipotle. No, like, legit, if you don't love yourself,
sometimes you have to cut out some people because
you love
them and yourself.
And most definitely. And I moved out when I was 21, and it was the best thing I did. For 1 year, I lived out of my parents' house. The worst thing financially, got a credit card debt, stress, this. I had to grow so much in that 1 year. Like, I was 21. those 21 years did not prepare me as much as that 1 year did. I came back to my parents' island. I love the food. The food was gourmet, bro. It was free. And all these other things I learned to appreciate. But I'm going to be moving out again because we live again together, because it was just like, it comes and it goes. You know what I mean? Like, and you will not grow if it's comfortable. If it's comfortable, you'll be chilling.
Exactly.
That's what it is. You go on vacation to chill. If you go on vacation, you're out there like, you're a beast. You're going to grow out there. Like, for myself, like, I chill mentally, but stress myself out physically because my job is so stressful mentally, but not physically. So that's what vacation
is. That why you start vacation and like working out helps with that as well?
No, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was just the consistency of doing something. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing anything but like waking up and showing up to work and doing random work shit. You know what I mean? But like when you wake up with a purpose, that sets you up for the whole day.
I know you have your little notebook.
Yeah.
Do you like journal and you?
I just recently started. I wasn't really about that at all.
I got to talk to you about that little contraption. That's really cool. It's like a digital.
It's a digital notebook, so
that you could write with a pen.
So I have like 6 different notebooks because I box things up. You know, there's work, there's other work, there's play, there's that. Yeah. But with this thing, you just open a new PDF file and you start writing, and I'm not carrying 16 notepads for 16 different topics.
And for you, is it easier to write with your hand instead of like it's not as much of a connection if you're just typing it into your...
It doesn't matter, but I can't spell for shit, and the autocorrect pisses me the hell off. So if I write it with my hand, I have dyslexia, so I read the first and last letter of the word. Why do you think I don't care about spelling? It has 9 letters in it. It's going to be reliable if it starts with that. Like
that's how everybody reads, but yeah, dyslexia is a little bit different.
It's more intense.
Oh, so that's why, yeah.
It's more intense. So like
you write it, you understand what
exactly.
you wrote.
I know that if I put 6 squiggles and that at the beginning, I'm going to read it as that. And it, like, if I was to type the word, I'm like, does the I go before the E or U before? I waste time.
For me, I like writing.
Yeah.
But it just takes longer. And, but yeah, the thing on the phone is like, it's not as personal. I don't connect it emotionally as much.
And you're not.
So that's why some people just write in an actual physical notebook.
This thing simulates it pretty damn good, bro. I'll let you try it.
Yeah. I saw, dude. Like, I see your squiggles, bro. Beautiful.
And I'm just getting better. I recently tried to write with my left hand. It looks like a kindergarten, but you can still kind of read it. So.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about it, because you're not worried about wasting time. You charge it up. It's, you know, I think about the consequences of my action more and more because I'm getting older.
When you're intentional with what you're thinking about and what you're writing about.
When you mean what you say and you do what you mean, your life becomes so much more purposeful.
Be honest with yourself, and you can be honest with other people.
Exactly. And
honesty doesn't mean be brutal on yourself. Just be honest.
Just be honest. Yeah. You know, like, for example, I could have started this conversation like, my brother passed away. It was due to an unfortunate series of events. Like, no, I was there. You know what I mean? Like, other people can do it whatever, unless somebody else shows me up and says, hey, bro, this is the person. We caught him, and I come to this person and I talk to them. Like, it's very slim chances that somebody's going to convince me that something else happened. Because why? Because I know if somebody else tried to do this to my bro, he would have, like, iced those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That's just... And it's also like, my house was locked. All these other things, like the belief in something else,
that just
would be so crazy or so much crazier. You know what I mean? So it's just like, if I was to lie to myself and this, like, no. For me, I was like, I have been lying to myself about so many damn crazy and non-crazy things.
But now you learn to be honest with yourself. Yeah,
just brutally honest.
Honest doesn't mean easy. It's sometimes very hard.
Of course, it's harder. But honest is not brutal.
But you know what's harder? Bullshitting to yourself your whole life and then getting to the end of it and you're like, I fucked up.
You know, for me, like...
that's for me.
Yeah.
Scary. I'd rather be honest with myself.
It hit me.
That's easy.
It hit me like a month ago, basically, when I realized, like, I lived my entire life wrong. I did not have it figured out. I had it so ass backwards and so wrong that I couldn't even believe it. And I think that's what made me stop dead in my tracks and sit down and die along with my brother for like an hour. And I was like, I didn't talk. I was like, I was lost. I was just lost. Yeah. And I had to relearn how to live, and I had to reconnect with God. And I had to, like, you know how much, like, I thought about things, and I'm glad I didn't say a lot of things. I'm glad nobody else was there, because I would have told them some shit. But when there's nobody else to listen, what are you going to do? Talk like a crazy person with a cop over there with a gun?
Right.
You know, put your ass 50 feet. My brother's in the freaking psychiatric ward at the time, so I'm like, I'm going to get 5150 so quick that it's just going to be like, Like, I can't do this right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sitting there and being quiet and not vocalizing all those ideas allowed me to understand that, like, that's not my ideas. That's not my thoughts. Those are not my beliefs. This is something that I'm going through right now. This is what pain feels like. This is what pain sounds like in your head. This is what that feels like. Like, and psychedelics basically help me understand, like, and weed is like the beginning of psychedelics. People say, well, that weed is the beginning of psychedelics because you smoke weed and you get stressed out like a mofo. Why? Because you're thirsty and you're probably hungry and you got the munchies, but you do not know what hunger feels like. Like, a buddy of mine smoked and he's like, bro, I feel so bad. I feel nauseous. I feel like taking a shit. He's going through. I'm like, bro, eat some shit. Eat an apple. Eat a banana. Bro. It's like, bro, this is the best banana I've ever had in my life. This is the best apple I've had in my life. He eats those things like, bro, I'm ready to go. We're going clubbing. And afterwards, like, you know what I mean? Like, him feeling that high for the first time was so perplexing because he never truly knew what it means to feel hungry. Like, for myself, when I'm like, for the most part, like right now, when I'm hungry, I feel nauseous when I'm high. It's a weird thing. Like, I feel nauseous. That's why I'm skinny, because I would have put on so much weight because I went from like alcoholism to just being a complete pothead, and now I'm just like swinging out of it, and I'll do it and I won't do it, and it doesn't have the same effect on me. Same thing with like blow. Like, I'll do it, I'll sober up, but
dive head first, and then you're like, oh, okay, I learned that, and now you're just like, okay, those are just tools in the toolbox.
Exactly. But if you give it more power than that, it will have more power than that. If you say it's a dragon, it will be a dragon. If you say it's a snake, it will be a snake. But if you just like, this is a chemical that makes me feel like that, and then that, and these are the side effects, and these are the pros, and these are the cons.
Difference between addictive personalities or not?
For me, it's, you know, it was the struggle of breaking that first addiction and breaking that addictive personality. Like, alcohol was probably the thing I was addicted to for the longest, for the most, aside from like whatever. I think nicotine and caffeine is probably my longest addiction. It's Spanish derivation. Nicotine is the hardest to quit. I'll tell you that much off the bat. Alcohol is not that bad in comparison to others. You know what I mean? Like, when you feel physically ill for 7 days, not getting out of bed, not like sweating balls, like you got a fever.
Alcohol?
No, from blow. Alcohol's 3 days like that. Simon Peter rejecting Jesus for 3 days type of situation. This is like, I think it was like probably like about 10 days where I just felt physically ill. And I realized, like, just as sick as I was on day 1, I'm just as sick on day 10. I need to just hop out of bed and start doing shit. And I realized, like, this whole sickness, this whole disease is nothing more than me doing shit to me. And that's what addiction is. It's when the chemical loses its power. Like, the chemical doesn't have that power, but you give it that power. You're you are Mr. Addiction now. But it doesn't have that power.
You're my answer to everything.
Yeah, exactly. When you look for the answers in the wrong places, you will find so much destruction, so much pillaging, so much just backwards movement. But if you look for like the right answer, or like the answer in the right place, you'll find it so quickly, and it's so easy and so basic. You'll be like, I'm so dumb. So dumb for not knowing this. Like, I should have known this. I knew this the whole entire time, but I had to like figure out that I know, if that makes sense. And a lot of like my trips were like literally like, I go through the trip and I come back and I'm just like, I knew this all along. But now I believe it.
No,
that's it. That's it. That's as simple as that. Like, my trauma that you know, messed me up for so many years. Like, it still hurts me and haunts me, but like it's something I overcame. Like, I'm not just like a victim of this or a victim of that. Like, I'm so much more than just a victim. I'm a dope ass victim.
Right. Let's wrap it up, buddy. But it was awesome talking to you, man.
Likewise.
Let's do another one soon.
Most def. Not too soon. We gotta recharge the batteries.
Obviously, yeah. No, like you said,
like in 30 days.
There you go.
What does soon mean to you?
I think we're on the same level. I think, soonish, but not too soon.
Soon is whenever it happens, bro.
Like you said, enjoy the lessons, enjoy the moment, take the lessons from it, and then,
Exactly.
Soonish. All right, brother.
Hell yeah, bro.
Peace.
Live.